Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the ANZCAR Food City 500 coming to you live from Bristol. As you can see out there at the moment folks, the Cup cars are warming up and we'll be going to qualifying in the next 6 minutes. But before we do, I'd like to introduce my co-host, and that's Gary Huff. Welcome Gary, it's going to be a great night of racing here at Bristol.
Yes, it is. It's going to be an exciting night. 500 laps of brutal racing. Hopefully these guys are ready for tonight. And looking at this happy hour, it's going to be a fun one tonight. My co-partner tonight, Brad, couldn't be here right now. He might be able to join us later. I'm hoping he does because he can add a lot of excitement to this commentation here. But his kid decided to get sick tonight, and so he's tending to that. And hopefully he can put him down, get him well, and join us later on tonight. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long night, and hopefully Brad can settle his child and come and join us. If not, Brad, best of luck with it, and we're thinking about you while you settle your child. But yeah, big long night here tonight, folks. Full length race at Bristol. We've got the Cup cars out there warming up at the moment. 500 laps we're going for tonight, and 3 hours 50 time certain. You can see the timer. We've got 45 minutes until race start here, so quite a bit of a pre-race show. As far as fast repairs go, they have absolutely none, and unlimited incident points. But as we said Thursday night, if you get wrecked here early, it doesn't matter how many incident points you accrue, because your car's going to be toast, and you could be in for a long night.
Yeah, these guys could be spending some time in the pits making sure these cars are put back together to get out there. But you know, these cars, they're really not aerodynamic. It's more of a mechanical grip here at Bristol. They're not aero dependent, so if they knock the fenders off, they knock the hood off. Basically, all they need is that wing back there to keep the weight on the back end as they're going around the track at 125 miles an hour average. And but they might spend some time in the pits getting these cars worked on, getting suspension to where everything's straight, the cambers, casters, everything. That's all important on these cars, Bernie, where they can just make them turn left instead of right.
Yeah, exactly right. And what we saw Thursday night, a couple of cars did get wrecked. They had fender damage on those cars. It, as you said, didn't affect any aero as long as it was straight and it could turn. They were just as competitive as they were earlier in the night, which was good. We've got 15 cars out here tonight. Thursday night we had 11, but I tell you what, folks, if we're in for a race like we did Thursday, it's going to be a fast one, because I tell you what, Gary, Thursday night, 2 cautions, and the laps just ticked by at 15 seconds per lap.
Yeah, these guys are running 14 seconds per lap. Jason Martin, who is also the leader of the points in the championship position with 87 points, he's sitting almost 13 seconds a lap at a 14.056, with Josh McElmore in 4th place, nipping right at his heels with a 2:35. So this is going to be a fast. If these guys can get without cautions, we might only have a short race to sit here for. But I don't know, man. These guys they're pushing it really hard in the practice, so it's going to be hard to see.
Yeah, so it'll be good. But I tell you what, Jason Martin, if he gets out front, folks, he's going to be hard to catch. A couple of guys tried Thursday night in the Xfinities. They burnt their tyres up. I don't know how he can keep the pace up, but he does. And keep an eye on him earlier on. The other man to keep an eye on is Josh Micklemore. He's normally a late bloomer almost. He normally waits for the race to come to him, but I tell you what, I'll get back to Thursday night. Josh hunted Jason down. Jason was trying to conserve fuel, and he only won it by the skin of his teeth. So that could be interesting to keep an eye on as well.
Well, Josh could be looking for revenge. Josh could be looking to gain that spot that he lost Thursday night. But Tonight you have a newcomer, Sam Devontier. I'm not sure if I said that wrong. Please forgive me if I did, but he's not too far off of Josh McLemore's time in practice, which means he's really got his bearings here at this track. Bristol, it's a short track. Tempers are going to flare. It could be anybody's game.
Definitely, it's all going to be about pace. But speaking about Sam Devontier, he raced the official NASCAR iRacing series yesterday. Warming up to this, he got P5. So expect him to factor in this. As you said, he's already third fastest in practice, and another driver to keep an eye on. We've also got Ryan Shelton out there. He's one of your fellow countrymen. He called the race Thursday night. He's definitely looking forward to having a great run here today, and we'll keep an eye on him as well as the race progresses.
Ryan's not looking bad out there for the happy hour. He's consistent. He's what is he? He's like seventh fastest in the happy hour, but he's consistent. And consistency here at Bristol is what's going to pay off. You can run a couple of fast laps, but that fast lap might come back and bite you in the butt 2 laps later because your tires. But Ryan, I mean, he very well could have learned something while he was commentating the Thursday night race, and he's going to probably try and play it tonight. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. He's hungry, and he's going to have a good one. I think he comes from South Carolina, so he's lives and breathes NASCAR just like you, Gary.
He's in the NASCAR realm of everything, and that's basically the hub: South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia's. Whereas I'm kind of out here stuck on the West Coast with a bunch of weirdos, but we won't go there.
Yeah, I guess that's hipster city over there. But we've got a bit of a let's have a look at the weather and see if it's going to factor in tonight. 27 degrees Celsius, 81 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be a nice balmy night here. As we can see though, Joshua Carroll Walden, he's coming out on track first, and it's going to be interesting to see how Joshua goes here, and he'll be the first one to set a time. Basically how we're doing this today, folks, we're going to bring each driver out and they're going to do their flying laps, and then they will go in. I think they get one flying lap, I'm not sure. They'll go in, we'll introduce the next one. So Joshua Carroll Walden, Gary, he's the first one into the wall load heavily and straight out, so that's not a good start.
No, it's not a good start, but there's only 15 of those guys out there, so he doesn't have too far to go through. He was coming out of turn, I think it was turn 4. Yeah. Yep. Or no, and the back end just slipped out from under him. Nothing you can really do at that point except hang on and hope it doesn't hurt.
That's exactly right. Now we've got Josh Mickelmore out in the number 2. He's a fast one, folks. As we were saying, expect him, if he has a good run here, to come through the field, and he's off on his flyer now. We'll bring that up and bring up the live timing. As you can see it ticking down here, and we'll see what he can do. Hey, Gary?
Well, as you watch him run the outside line, as a progressive, Bristol has a progressive banking, and a lot of these guys like to run the high line. Some will run the low line in the turns, but I've been watching Josh all night, and he's been on that high line running super fast with a 14.2, with a 14.3 on his second time lap. So we're going to go with Josh at the 14.275.
Yeah, so he lays down the time there, and we'll see who can match it, and we'll see who's going to be out next on the circuit, and we'll see how they go. But Josh Mickelmore throws down the gauntlet. Now, who can match that time? That's the question.
Yeah, it's just a matter of who he's putting on the track next. I'm not sure how the stewards are running it tonight.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, they'll call the next car out. We're just waiting to see who that is. They've got 36 minutes to do this, plenty of time, and they'll go through the field. And as we said, 16 Luke Emerton just joined the server. So let's see if he joins the grid and has a run. It's pretty much open to all comers today, and in a nice size field. Not too big, but not too small either. A bit like Goldilocks.
Looks like Ryan's going out.
Yeah, Ryan Shelton. And be interesting to see how he goes. As we were saying, he loves his NASCAR. I think he races it on the iRacing server. He's hungry, and he's been looking forward to this race for a few days. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, he was able to commentate a race and watch the full race of the 185 laps that they ran the other night with only 2 cautions, I might add. And so he might be looking to capitalize off of being able to watch these things. Now, when you get to watch this, you get to see what other guys are doing. He got a little loose coming off the turn there. That's going to hurt him with a 14.7, but let's see what he does here. Oh, he pulls it in, and that's it for him.
Yep, he's had it. And
14.7 is not bad. I mean, he was running 14.4s in practice, so 14.7s, it's going to put him probably in the middle of the track. But again, he seems to be confident with his setup on his chassis, and he'll be one to watch coming up through the middle, I'll guarantee you.
Yeah, definitely, and I was surprised he actually pulled out of that. We have Norman Clark out on the track now in the number 11, and we call this guy the Magician because the first time we saw him out there, he went a long way on one set of tyres, and he hasn't had much luck, but we'll see what he can do tonight. If he keeps out of trouble, he could factor into this, and he's on his way now. Nice cautious start, got a bit loose there out of turn 2 into turn 3 here now, and you can see he's just pacing himself, getting a time down, 15.098. So they must only get one flying lap here. What do you reckon?
I think he put 2 laps in, but I think he got a 15.114, which I think is conservative for him. And again, Norman is one of those guys that think things through. So look for him to be a contender towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and Ryan Shelton did get a time in. We missed it. But we've got Jason Martin out here at the moment setting his time. Let's bring that up. Oh, he loses it. Just gets it across the line. And let's see what sort of a time he put in. 14.449, even getting loose over the line there, Gary.
Yeah, that'll put him in second. Let's see what he does on his second lap. He's going for it. Oh, yep. Oh, don't wreck it. Yeah, he's going to go with a 14.49, and I think he's going to put it in the shop tonight.
Yeah, they'll go back and do some adjusting here. We've got Danny G in the number 24. He's next on track, and we'll see what Danny G can do here tonight. Tell you what, the cars feel loose out there, but it is an open setup. I wonder if the guys are adjusting while they're watching this. Here he goes on his fast lap, Gary.
Some of these guys could be adjusting as they're able to see it, but I think some of the guys are sitting in their car and they're waiting, and they're getting their mind straight to run this half-mile track as fast as they possibly can to get in front. You want to be out in front as much as possible. You don't want to be able to caught up in somebody else's wreck, and he got a 14.475 for third spot, which is not bad for Danny G. And It looks like he's going to park it.
Yeah, I think they only get one flying lap. I think Josh thought he was going to get 3, but only 1 here. We'll see who's the next one out on the circuit. You can hear a car coming out now. It's Thomas Hines. He races hard in the 52, and he races everything. You see him out in the Xfinity. He's out in the Cup. He runs V8 supercars. We'd say he's a road racing specialist. Road America absolutely ran away with it. Here we go. Let's see what he can do.
Gets as much time as he possibly can in that seat, and that's one of the things you can do, man. The more time you get in that seat, the better you are connected to that car, to the sim. The more you know the sim, the more you know how it's going to work, and the better you're going to be, more consistent you're going to be. You might not be the fastest guy out there, but you're going to be the top guy out there, that's for sure. I think that's what Tom Hines is.
Yeah, and he's going for smooth, and we'll see if he's going for fast. 14.763 he sets. So let's see what that brings on the qualifying at the moment. We've got Josh Micklemore in front, Jason Martin in second at the moment, Daniel Danny G third, and Thomas Hinds fourth, Brian Shelton fifth. We've got the next car coming out now. It's Edward Foster. He had another good run. He actually got into Thomas Hinds on Thursday night, and they race hard, those two.
Yes, they do. They are definitely a competition. I'm not sure if there's a little bit of rivalry there with the Riley Curtis Designs cars, but yeah, Edward is just a racer, and he's looking for a win. He's not looking to place second. Second place doesn't appeal to him, so if you're in his way, he's going to try. He's going to try and get that first place from you. And he's sitting on the pole right now. He's going for his second lap. Is he going to better his lap on the second time? Yes, he does. He gets a 4.59, sitting in third spot. That's going to put Edward up there pretty good.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Norman Clark at the moment, 7. 16 runners here now, folks. Luke Hamilton, he's going to be out soon. Just seeing who the next one is. It's Matty Cloward here in the number 54. He didn't have too good a run on Thursday night. He's going to be out to better that performance. Starting his fast run now as hot lap, whatever you want to call it, quali lap.
Well, he put a lot of laps out. He was one of the first ones in the server tonight, and he's got a lot of laps tonight. So now whether he lays down a fast lap or look at that, 5.11, which is not bad, puts him in the 5th spot for the night to qualify, and looks like he's going to go for number 2. Let's see what he does, Bernie.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's doing it or if he's slowing down. Here he goes. Let's see what he does. He was, and he does not better that time. So
no, I think he hit the apron coming out of 2 on his second lap, so it just kind of slowed him down. He didn't push it, so he was good with that 5.11, putting him in top 5, starting the race tonight. Not bad.
Yeah, and the further you can get up the grid, the better. Can see at the moment now Mirko Dortnack in the number 62. He's coming out to try his luck here at Bristol. Starts his flying lap now. We'll see what he does. He's taken the high line. I guess I did hear that's the fastest around here, Gary.
And it depends on your setup. I mean, you can run the high line or you can run the high-low line. You can run the low line. It all depends on how your cambers and your suspension is set up. And it's going to be based on your driver. He pulls 8th grid with an 8.31. So these guys are all within 14 seconds. What do we got? 0.6 of a second. Ooh, look at there. A 6.53 puts him in 6th place. Just 0.4 off the lead. So these guys are really close.
They certainly are. And we've got Daniel Stevens, the next one out in the number 66. He drives for Middle Finger Racing. And let's see what he does. And he loves his NASCAR, as do all the boys out here. Field now out to 18. More drivers are coming in as we speak, so that's fantastic news. Don't know how they'll go though. No practice, and these cars look a bit loose. Oh, he's losing it. Hold on to it. Oh, into the wall he goes. That's the end.
I think he's done. But Daniel Stevens is a sleeper. He's one of those guys that you really don't think can come up, but man, towards the end of that race, he's going to bite you in the butt. And if you're not paying attention, he's going to take that position from you. Stephen Williams was just connected. I hope that guy has some laps somewhere else, because these guys here tonight are prepared, and they're prepared for the 500. So I hope Stephen Williams is prepared. Darren McKenzie just connected. He's one of the really good racers here. I just hope these guys are prepared tonight, because Josh and Jason, Edward, Daniel, these guys are prepared to race.
Yeah, and this is one of the latecomers that are coming in here. Luke Emerton, you've heard him previously calling GT3s with me V8 supercars on RRTV. We'll see how he goes, and we'll see if he's got this car hooked up or not. Sponsored by Case Centric.
I was unable to see if he was here. I don't think he came here, and I don't think he put too many laps in on the happy hour, so I wasn't able to kind of get any kind of eye on him. But right now he looks like he's running the high line towards the middle of the turns, and not bad with a 15.41. But again, the qualifying is just a starting position. He's going to call it right there. If he starts in the back, he's got 500 laps to make this race a win.
Yeah, definitely, and the key to this will be staying out of trouble. Well, here we go, folks. Sam Deventia, he's been looking forward to this race for some time. He's been working on a setup, top 5 in happy hour. Let's see if he can convert this. And he finished 5th last night in the official NASCAR race. Let's see what he does in this 95, starting on the high line, going down to the low line and exit there. And looking clean so far, but we don't want to put the mockers on him. Here he comes.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to stay smooth with a 491, puts him in the 5th spot. That's a good qualifying position, but he's going to try and do better on his next lap. As he's trying to smooth it out and not scrub off as much speed as he can, and comes across the start-finish line and does not better. Oh, there he goes,
Yeah, he
4.57 with a 3rd grid. He's going to sit behind Josh McElmore sitting on the grid.
Definitely a man to watch tonight. He's on fire. And we can see the next driver out. Looks like we've got Stephen Williams in the number 98. He's the last man to enter the server. Let's see what he can do. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if I'd be brave enough to jump in after happy hour late in quali and have to go out and turn it on in one lap. But
he's not a stranger to this track. I think he's been racing this track. He's run this track before. I don't think he would have come in if he didn't have a setup. He's got a lot of respect for these guys, and I think he's not. Yeah, look at that. An 896, just 6/10 off the lead. So he's got his groove, sitting in the 10th grid, and he's going to try and better this score with as he comes out of 4 across start finish line, and the result is.
His
10th spot.
10th spot did not improve, but nice clean run all the same. Could be a sleeper tonight because I'd say the race may come to him. Chris Purnell, don't know much about Chris. He's starting in the 920 tonight, folks, and we'll see what he can bring to this qualifying. We've got just over 24 minutes to race start. Here he goes. Oh, right up against the wall. You don't want to do that because that'll nullify your time.
He was in the top 7 on the practice for the happy hour. He was running pretty consistent laps with Josh and Danny G, and he wasn't having a whole lot of problems. So let's see if he can get him a nice qualifying score with a 6, which puts him in 7th. He's going to try and better that and see if he can better that coming out of 4. And it looks pretty good. Oh, he got a little loose there, so that might not better it. Let's see what he did. I don't think he's going to better his time.
No, he's 7th fastest. Nothing to sneeze at, though. And,
no, nothing to sneeze at all. He's only less than 0.4 of a second off the lead. So these guys are, I think the first 10 laps of this race is going to be pretty close, and it might stretch out after a while, but let's see who's next.
Yeah, we've got Darren McKenzie here in the number 75. We normally see him running his favourite number, the 08. Maybe he changed it because he hasn't had too much luck. Although Thursday night he was on fire, not literally, folks, but if he can keep this car straight, he'll be right up there.
I think in this Cup Series, I think he's chosen a 75 for whatever reasons. Both the Daytona and the California race, he's been the number 75, and it hadn't done him too bad. He's got a 15.137 for 13th spot, but he's running the high line.
Yeah, and he's running that high line. He got into the wall, so I don't think the second one will count here. Basically, if you get an incident point against you, it nullifies. So 13th fastest he got. Don't worry about that, folks. So he generally qualifies reasonably poorly, but he's got the pace and he comes through the field.
Yeah, he eventually makes it at the end. Towards the end of the race, he's definitely a contender for a top 5, top 6, top 5 finisher. And tonight's race, it's all about attrition. He knows about attrition. He's always there at the end. Tore up car, tore up everything. So let's see who's next.
Yeah, got Roger Clark out in the number 35, son of Norman. So we'll see what he can do. Taking the high line up there, drifts up high, down mid-track on exit. A little bit loose there, Gary.
Yeah, it looked like he almost got into the wall. I saw something like he almost hit the wall. It was really, really, really close.
Yeah, it certainly was. And he's loses it there.
Yeah, I think he's going to stick with a 14.687 for ninth spot. I don't think he's going to better that. He already wore out the tires on that coming out. I don't know if he turned in too soon, but he got loose coming out into 1 and 2, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, he's another driver for Middle Finger Racing here, and we'll see what the Middle Finger Racing boys can bring to it. Sponsored by WP Concreting. So it brings it back to pit road. We'll see who's the next. We've still got a few out to come yet. With Josh Micklemore, Jason Martin are still to come out. We've got Edward Foster, Danny G, Ryan Shelton set his time. And no, who have we got left? Is it just one, or is that it?
Lee Granty and Daniel Stevens have not run their qualifying. Joshua Carroll Walden ran but wrecked it. So we have 15 qualifiers with Luke Emerton sitting in the 15th spot. Again, Lee and Daniel have not qualified yet. Or Daniel actually did qualify, did he not? He qualified.
Yeah, so
66 of Daniel Stevens did qualify.
Let's go through the qualifying results here, folks, at the moment. So we'll see if Lee's going to come out. He's not in the car, and we'll see what happens. But Josh Micklemore, he takes pole at the moment. It's going to be a firecracker because right next to him on the outside is going to be Jason Martin. Second row on the inside, Sam DeVentia at the moment. Edward Foster on the outside of him. Looking back to the third row is Danny G, Matty Clowett from 5th and 6th. From 7th or the 4th row, Chris Purnell, Mirko Dortnack. 5th row tonight is Roger Clark, Thomas Hinds starting pretty deep. And then 6th row we have Ryan Shelton and Stephen Williams. Looking further back, 7th row is Norman Clark, Darren McKenzie. And then 8th row is Luke Emerton, Daniel Stevens. Looking at the 9th row, we have Joshua Carroll Walden and Lee Granty. The guys that have not set times, Daniel Stevens, Joshua Carroll Walden and Lee Granty. So they've got 19 minutes to go, so I wonder if they get timed or if they can go out when they are due.
I think we've got 20 minutes to sit, so I don't know. You got some truck replay, some truck highlights?
No, I don't, but we do have pre-race interviews to go to, so I reckon that could be interesting for the viewers. What do you think?
Oh, for Bristol? Absolutely.
You're on for that. All right, let's go to some interviews. We've got Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore, Roger Clark down there, Ryan Shelton and Edward Foster. Who would you like to start with? And I'll bring them down. We'll have a chat.
Well, let's see if Ryan Shelton is ready to talk. He was able to watch the race Thursday, and let's see how well he is set up for tonight.
Yeah, we'll just walk the grid and see how we go. The first one's Jason Martin. Let's see what he thinks Bristol's going to bring for him tonight.
Jason Martin, this is Gary in the commentating booth. How are you doing tonight?
Good, thanks, mate. How about you?
Oh, we're doing good. We're having a blast up here watching you guys out there qualifying. How's your hot rod tonight?
I've got a fast setup that gets extremely tight, or I've got a slow setup that gets pretty good on the long run, and I'm not too sure which one to go with.
Well, I think as long as you brought your patience so you can run the whole 500, I think whichever setup you run will come to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we could get some long green runs after some early yellows, so I might go with the slower setup that's a bit safer.
Well, we've got a grid of 18 tonight. Not a real packed crowd, but I think everybody wants the same thing, and they all want that win.
Yeah, I think Josh could be hard to beat here. I think he'll have a pretty good setup. Yeah,
I'll just jump in quickly here. We saw Josh hunting you down Thursday night. I'm not sure what the reason was. You're probably on fumes by that point. But as you said, you're a little bit concerned about Josh at the moment.
Yeah, he's a lot better at making setups than me, so I think he'll be good early and good on long runs, whereas me, I'm either good long run or bad early. I'm all over the place. I'm not sure what setup to go with.
I wouldn't cut yourself short, Jason. You're leading the points. You've got momentum coming in here. This isn't your first time at Bristol, so don't cut yourself short. And I'd say give it everything you got.
Yeah, I'll definitely be trying to win though.
I appreciate you coming in and talking to us. We'll let you get back to your team, finalize your car for the night. You got about 15 minutes to get her done. So good luck and have fun.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I tell you what, Gary, he's not a man of many words. He leaves a talking to his performance on the track, as do quite a few real-world NASCAR drivers.
Well, I think all these guys, they're not into talk right now. Their mind's set on going around in circles for a half a mile. About 200 miles into it, 200 laps into this race, or 150 laps into this race, every turn looks the same. And you're just looking for that checkered strip on the track to realize that you did another lap. These turns are almost identical, as our banking, is it's progressive here at Bristol. With the banking, where'd it go? Like 26 to 30 degrees banking on the straights, and 6 degrees to 10 degrees on the straightaways with 26 to 30 on the turns. So each turn's identical. The straightaways are identical. It's hard to keep track of where you're at, but each turn, each corner on this track takes a different part of your car, and you have to really know where you're at, otherwise you're just going to get lost.
Yeah, so we'll see how they go. What can they do at this point in qualifying as far as setup adjustment? Are they free to adjust anything they like up until race start?
I think iRacing doesn't restrict anything between your qualifying setup and your race setup. So it all depends on how these guys practiced. If they practiced a qualifying setup to be aero dependent, okay, well they put a lot of tape on it. They put a lot of shock in the rear end, a lot of spring in the rear end to hold that car steady on a track to give it a lot of speed. And then for a race, they would take some tape off, obviously, because it's going to be a longer run, and they'll soften up those springs to give it a little bit more grip. So it all depends on these drivers and how they run this track. Every track is different. Even in iRacing, a lot of guys share setups and they work on setups together. But it comes down to the individual driver, how they drive the car, how their wheels are set up. Some of these guys are running aftermarket pedals that are just crazy with load sensors and this, that, and the other. So, these setups actually become personal. And you can work on a setup with a friend, with a buddy, with a father, like Bruce and Norman do, or Roger and Norman do, but those two setups are still different, and they race totally different. So it's going to be interesting to see tonight. From the Daytona race that we saw, there was a lot of give and take there. California, I was able to race with these guys in California. What an awesome race I had. I had a blast racing with these guys. 100%. I mean, just full-on fun. Total respect for these guys. Bristol, man, you go from California 2 miles to Bristol half mile. It's going to change things. It's going to change things a lot.
Yeah, no doubt the crews will be down there making those adjustments as we speak. But let's go over and have a chat with Josh Mickelmore, see if he's up for a chat, and let's see how he feels coming in to tonight, folks.
Hey, Josh, how you doing? This is Gary up in the booth.
Hey, Gary, how you going, mate?
Long time no speak to you. Last time we spoke was a month ago at California. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Well, it looks like you're sitting at the top of the board tonight. How are you feeling?
Yeah, car seems to be pretty quick. Wasn't a qualifying set, it was just a race set, but yeah, we'll see how we go in the race.
You think Jason is going to be trying to get you back for the other night?
Yeah, he's a hard charger. He'll be up there as well as a couple of other dudes. But yeah, it'll be a close battle. So it'll be interesting.
We're looking forward to a good race tonight. We've only got 18 people tonight, 18 drivers tonight. How do you feel tonight's going to go with 500 laps?
Yeah, I think. Well, me personally, I think we might have a couple of yellows until everyone sort of sorts themselves out. But we'll see what happens. It might not either. So, and then I reckon we'll get some pretty good long green flag runs as well. So, should see how the cars can do on the long run.
Yeah, we're hoping for some long green flag runs too, because it's kind of hard to keep people's attention during the 45-mile-an-hour laps at caution. But so tonight you've got 500 laps. Are you ready? Are you bunkered down to sit there at your computer for 500 laps, which is probably going to be at least 3 hours?
Yeah, I'm sort of used to doing these long races in the NASCAR racing series, so it's nothing new to me. So I should be fine. But yeah, no, it should be good close racing.
Well, good deal. I guess, Bernie, you got anything for Josh? Otherwise, we're going to let him get back to his team and let these guys get these adjustments made for the race.
Yeah, I guess I just went and grabbed a glass of water, so I'm not sure if you already asked this, but basically, how's the setup out there? Have we already spoken about this?
A little bit, but yeah, the car should be pretty good for the long run. Just I'm not sure what the other cars are going to be like on long run, but yeah, I guess we'll soon see.
Yeah, one thing is Jason's, he sort of said, you're the driver he's keeping an eye on tonight, and after Thursday night you're hunting him down. You just ran out of laps, and I guess how do you think you're going to go with later on in the race? I know it's 500 laps away, but you hoping this race is going to come to you, or what?
Yeah, well, we're just going to try and keep the car clean, keep it off that wall, and hopefully be there at the end in the long run. Like I said, I'm not sure what the other guys have got in their setup, so it'd be interesting to see where everyone ends up on long runs. But my car feels pretty good, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. We'll let you get back, mate. You've got 9 minutes, and it's time to start focusing, no doubt, and you're probably the last thing you want to do is talk to us.
No, that's fine. Doesn't bother me.
All right,
thanks,
mate.
guys.
All right, best of luck front row, outside Jason. Stay out of trouble. Hopefully we'll get to speak to you at the end of this.
Good luck, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Just walking down pit road, one man that looks mighty focused is Sam DeVentia. We tried to speak to him, but his manager there says, no, he's too focused on this. And, like a lot of guys out there, they're going to be like that. They're going to be getting down to business now, putting their race faces on. We'll see if we can speak to anyone else down there. Is there anyone in particular you'd like to have a chat with, Gary?
I think any one of these guys would be entertaining. This is a short track, and with these short tracks comes attitudes, comes tempers, comes a whole lot. And they're good to go for qualifying, and they're good to go for laps 1, 2, 3, and about the 5th lap they are done. They've had it. They want to kill a guy in front of them. If they had guns on these cars, they would shoot him. Just short track mentality, short track racing, and it's fun. But tempers flare. So if anybody is willing to come up, and if they've got a minute, if they're not doing their last minute changes, we'd be glad to talk to them and see how their plans are going to happen tonight.
Let's go and bring Ryan Shelton up from South Carolina. He calls the Thursday night Xfinity. It'll be interesting to see what he thinks coming into this.
Absolutely.
Here he is.
Good evening, Ryan. How you doing?
What's going on?
Oh, it's just another day in paradise, brother.
Yeah, just like that. I mean, it's only almost 1 o'clock in the morning. We got it. Yep.
Hey, you got to commentate on Thursday night with the Xfinity Series. Did you learn anything from there that you're going to apply tonight?
The bottom line works at some points. Sometimes the bottom line works, but most of the time it's just top line. that's about what I learned.
What do
from
you
them.
think your setup's going to do tonight? Do you think it's going to hang the top or hang the bottom? You going to guard the bottom to keep these guys at bay? I mean, you got to watch 185 laps of racing the other night, and I think you kind of got a head start on everybody that didn't get there.
The biggest thing with my setup, it's probably going to try to kill me. That's the biggest thing. I know during my qualifying lap I got loose, and that was about the least amount of loose I've gotten all night. 5 laps is about the most I've gotten with this setup because I did not know it was an open setup until I joined the session. And I realized I was on the Atlanta setup because that's the last time I've driven this car open. So, yeah, it didn't really work for the first couple laps. I realized I was about a second slower. I looked at the setup and I was like, oh, that's wrong, and it's open.
Well, that's not back in your skill set any because 767 at Bristol is nothing to frown upon. You're sitting in the 11th grid, back there in the 5th row. So, are you going to try and get to the front and try to avoid all the wrecks, or are you going to just kind of bide your time and go for the 500?
For the first about 300 laps, I'm going to try to figure out how to drive this car without spinning out. And then for the last 200, I'll actually start the race. So, like, first, I know for at least the first 50 laps, I'm just going to try to get by myself because I know it's kind of chaotic for the beginning of the race. So, I'm just going to kind of chill out for the first couple of hours, and then for the last one, kind of see if I can push the car and hope for the best.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Bernie, I watched him in happy hour, and he looked pretty good. Don't let him fool you. I think he's got his ducks in a row. This Atlanta setup at Bristol is a bunch of hogwash, but don't let him fool you, Bernie. I think he's going to be someone to watch tonight, and I think he learned something watching the Xfinity cars. You guys had fun Thursday night, and I think we're going to have fun watching Ryan tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I tell you what, Ryan, I wasn't sure if you were going to make it tonight because you had a bit of trouble getting into the session, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't know it was a league invite either, so I was not in the league. I didn't know it was open setup, so it was a bit of a last-minute thing. And I got home like about 11 o'clock with Chinese food, so I had to eat that right before then also, so I didn't know what was going on.
Chinese food. Now I'm hungry. Bernie, how about you?
I'm eating Pocky sticks, which are like little sticks dipped in chocolate. That's my lunch. But anyway, Ryan, you've got 4 minutes, 15 seconds to go. We're going to let you go, mate. Best of luck out there. We'll see what you've got. And tell you what, Gary, the excuses have already started.
Yeah, Ryan, I appreciate you coming up here and talking with us tonight. It was awesome. And good luck tonight. Again, you're starting from the 11th grid, and, man, I hope you don't get caught in a big one, man. You deserve at least a top 5 for getting here, eat your Chinese food, and fixing your open setup.
Right, yeah. We're pretty international around here. Chinese food with an Australian group of guys racing an American pastime. Let's do it.
Hey, buddy, I'm in California where Chinese food is 3 nights a week.
Yeah, it's about here too.
All right, buddy. Good luck, and we'll hopefully we'll speak to you in the end, sitting on the podium, if not the win.
Right on. We'll see you.
So
Bernie, this is going to be a good night. I think these guys have good spirit. I think everybody here knows each other, and I really don't think the attitudes are going to come out. I think they're going to race each other, and I think the guys that probably would have been a problem with the tempers, well, they're not here.
Yeah, we'll see. The tempers didn't really come out at all Thursday night. Of course, they were only doing 185 laps, so we'll see how they go. Edward did get into Thomas a little bit, but when we interviewed them post-race, they both said, well, Rubbin's race, and that's the way it goes. And they're used to racing hard. There's no hard feelings, and they'll be heads forward. As you were doing that, I looked around, and Dan Stevens, his quote tonight, it's going to be tough, and he reckons it's going to be survival of the fittest. Another team basically said they're expecting cautions to come out early, and then after that they're expecting a very fast race with a lot of big green flag runs. So we'll see how that goes. But one thing, Gary, we did notice Thursday night was Dave Douglas. He's not here today. He came in on the number 10 under green and pitted. He went down a couple of laps, as you do around here when you take service under green. Unfortunately, the yellow came out and he got buried, and he did not recover from that. So that's something we should keep an eye out tonight as well.
Yeah, if you pit under green, you're going to lose 2 to 3 laps. These guys are running minimum 15-second laps, and you're going to be in the pits for a minimum of 50 seconds. So that's 3 laps right there to pit under green. Now, if you're trying to do a pit strategy, I don't really think that's a good idea. But again, it has worked out in the past. I've raced a lot of Bristol 500s throughout the years, and I've seen a lot of guys pit at lap 15, and by lap 300, their pit sequence is so screwed that they've got everybody by at least a lap, and it's crazy. You're thinking, like, how in the heck did they do that? So you try it, and well, you screw up your pit road, and you screw up everything else, and you speed, and you get a black flag and everything like that. So it's crazy. Each guy to their own. But tonight we're definitely going to see a various of strategies for these guys, because I think everybody here wants to win the first Bristol 500 for ANZCAR.
They certainly do, and all the boys now, they're in their cars, folks, getting their helmets ready. There's 31 seconds till we go racing here. Just saw Roger Clark in passing. He basically said, "Oh man, it's going to be hectic." He's got no time to relax at all. So, and that's what they find around here. When they get into that traffic, it's a half-mile track. They don't have time to relax, gather their thoughts. It's pretty much full on from when we go green to when we finish. The only respite they get is probably under yellow, but even then they're looking at pit strategy and the rest of it. So you can hear that, folks. That is the timer counting down, and we're about to go racing here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting night. 500 laps of all out. Get out of my way. Hold on. I'm coming racing. And these guys, as nice as they sound, as laid back as Ryan sound, and as laid back as Jason and Josh sounded, these guys are going to be up on the wheel, and they are going to be cursing, and they're going to be just, its tempers are going to flare. Some of these guys are really good about holding them back. We're not going to get to hear a lot of that, but we'll definitely be able to get to see if there's any paybacks tonight. So as they're lining up on the grid, you want to go through the grid and once again announce how these guys are going to start the race?
Yeah, definitely. On the grid, we have Jason Martin, Josh Mickelmore, sorry. He set the fastest time there, starting on the inside row 1. Jason Martin on the outside. Keep a close eye on Jason. He tends to run hard early and make the guys burn up their tyres, but we'll see what Josh can do. Second row tonight, we have Sam DeVentia and Edward Foster. Have I got this right? I'm assuming I got it right. Third row, Danny G and Matt Clowett. Looking further down to fourth row, Chris Purnell, Mirko Dortnack. Fifth row tonight, Roger Clark, Thomas Hinds. Sixth row, Ryan Shelton, Stephen Williams. Looking down to the seventh row, we have Norman Clark, Darren McKenzie. Luke Hamilton out of the eighth row. He's joined with Lee Granty. Joshua Carroll Walden will start out of the eighth row with Daniel Stevens next to him. So that's your field, folks. It's going to be on. If you've got any questions, come over to YouTube, to our chat channel, put them in there and we'll do our very best to answer them. But the guys have their race faces on now, and we're going to be going racing very, very shortly here. Gary?
Right now it looks like the pace car's taking off. These guys are going to get rolling. The pace car is going to lead them around, I believe, 2 laps for this, and when the pace car goes off, we will be racing for 500 miles.
Yeah, and we've already got one Sir Dave 199. He's placing his bets early here. He reckons keep an eye on the number 2. He's going to have the race tonight.
He's going to have the inside for sure. So we'll see if he's going to be able to take advantage of that, or if Jason Martin is going to have that outside edge, because that outside seems to be the way to go. But we're on pretty much a green track, and that outside groove comes in later on in the race. So it's going to be interesting to see. What do you think?
It's going to be awesome. And your commentators tonight, folks, myself, Bernie Weemers, joined here by Gary Huff. Hopefully Brad Boyce may join us later on in the race. He's got a sick child at the moment, and it's extremely early in the morning over there in United States. Can see now we're in the car here with Josh Micklemore. Can see the pace lights are out. What do you reckon's going through these boys' mind at the moment?
Get out of my way. They're waiting for that pace car to get off, and they want to get this thing going. They know they've got 500 miles to go, this short track, half-mile laps. And pace car's off, folks, and Josh McElmore is going to take him to the green flag, and let's see how he does. And there he goes. He is off. Clean start for Josh McElmore with Jason filing right behind him.
Yeah, you can see the 54 already going very high, almost in the wall. But nice clean start up front. Josh Micklemore's got the lead. Just cuts down over Jason Martin there. And down there in third, we have Sam DeVentia. He was pretty confident coming into this after a top 5 and sitting there in third. And look at Jason Martin, a bit loose there.
Yeah, Jason Martin's trying to get his tires up to temperature. Something with Josh, he said it. He's just got it. I think Jason's just trying to not lose sight of him and keep him up, but he's also got that hard charger of Sam behind him. So, it looks like we got 2 car lengths between second and third. And as we go back through the field, we've got Edward Foster. He's just right there. Daniel G. looks like he's fallen back a couple of car lengths. Matt, Chloe, and Chris Purnell seem to look like they're looking for a position change here, with Roger Clark coming right up behind him.
Yeah, and Thursday night, Matt Cloward, he struggled with the setup, and we'll see what he can do now. Open setup here tonight, but at the moment, Josh Micklemore in control of this race, and you can see him business, eyes focused, lap 6 of 500, and so far no yellow, but it's already claimed 2 scalps. 2 cars that were pushed behind the wall before the race start. Lee Granty in the number 7. We didn't really see him tonight at all. He didn't qualify. But the 75, Darren McKenzie, that's a surprise. They pushed that car behind the wall, and their night's done.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Darren. He was starting there in midfield, so looks like Roger Clark is having problems staying off the wall. And you've got a 6/10 of a lead between Josh and Jason, with Sam DeVentiar back a second. So it's going to get spread out here, but I really would like to see what happened to Darren. I'm not sure. He was in the middle of the field when it started, so what happened to him?
Yeah, we can see at the moment now Edward Foster just coming up on the back of the 95 of Sam DeVentia. Be interesting here. I'm guessing if a car comes up and they're faster, it's no time to be racing hard at this point. You'd probably just let him go. Oh, Edward Foster up in the wall. Hold on to it. No, he's lost it. We might have our first yellow here. No, we don't. We stay under green. That's going to be costly.
Yeah, Ryan got a little loose coming out of turn 4. Almost got it rolled over. Got up on 2 wheels. Went through pit road. Come back out. Coming out a lap down. So this looks like a struggle for Ryan right now.
Yeah, it certainly does, and that little spin of Edward Foster brings him back to 8th position. But right behind Ryan at the moment, we have Thomas Hinds here. He's just taking Mirko Dortnack. Took him a number of laps to get through, but on the low line it seemed to work. Oh, as we see Ryan, the car's just snap and hold on to it nearly into Thomas Hinds. I tell you what, Ryan's struggling out there tonight.
Yeah, he hit the apron tonight. He got loose. I think he's a little, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like he said, open setup tonight. He wasn't really prepared for it. And, of course, being where he was at in the middle of the field. So hopefully these few laps he can get a hang of that car. And, right now, if the caution comes out, he'll be back on the lead lap, so it's no big deal. As Thomas Hinds looks like he gained a position on Roger.
Yeah, we've got Thomas on the screen at the moment. Looking at your top 10 as they stand, we've got Josh Micklemore. He's 1/10 ahead of Jason Martin. Jason's closing in as they're putting the 90 a lap down. Oh, it's going to be close. Josh almost got into the back of the 90, and that's Luke Emmerton. We're under caution.
Caution coming out, and that gives a big heads up to Chris Purnell, who looked like he was just about to go a lap down. Or no, I'm sorry, Luke Emmerton. The 90 car of Luke Emmerton was just about to go a lap down.
Yeah, well, he was get out of jail free, but you can see the damage on the 98. It's Stephen Williams. He was worried coming into this. He said cautions early. I bet you didn't think he was going to bring it out, but let's have a look at this replay. From what I could tell, he just got a little bit loose there, but let's have a look anyway. Oh no, it wasn't him, it was a number 4, Ryan Shelton, on his roof. And Ryan Shelton, that could be his night done.
Yeah, you don't want to end up on your roof here. It's hard to say what was going through his mind when that happened.
Oh well, he got into the 35 up into him. He went right up into the safety fence there, which is why they have safety fences, but the incident was actually caused by Roger Clark. It snapped and Ryan had absolutely nowhere to go. Let's have another quick look, then we're going to get back to real life racing here. Just Roger was struggling, just got loose straight up into the wall, and the 62, Mirko Dortnack, also involved in that, as well as the 98. He spun trying to avoid Ryan Shelton, who was on his roof.
Yeah, these guys are doing everything they can do, but Ryan Shelton right now, let's see. Looks like Stephen Williams should be the lucky recipient of
the lucky dog.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry.
It's really late for you over there, or really early, so I can understand. I really appreciate you staying up for this race and helping us out here down under. But Jason Martin, he won the, no, he was leading anyway. So, no, he didn't. He won the race off pit road, folks. So looking at your top 10, we've got Jason Martin, then Josh Micklemore second, out of third at the moment, Sam Deventia, then Danny G, Chris Purnell fifth, sixth, Matty Clowett, seventh, Edward Foster eighth, Thomas Hinds ninth, Luke Emmerton, and running out your top 10 is Norman Clark, so that's how they'll restart. But while we're waiting for that restart, one of the viewers has asked, did they ever update the this track on the iRacing service?
As update for what? They've done so many updates in the past, it's hard to keep track of what update what for iRacing. They've done a lot of updates in the past couple of months with the first season of 2018. So it's hard to say. Without going back and looking, I couldn't tell you if they've updated Bristol.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, the drivers that are down one lap at the moment, Roger Clark, we saw him in trouble, so he's down a lap. So is Mirko Dortnack. He was involved in that incident. Stephen Williams also involved in the incident, down a lap, and Ryan Shelton up on his roof. Look at that car, I tell you what, that rear spoiler. I don't know if he'd win any beauty prizes, but we'll see what he's got as we go back to green shortly.
Should be going back to green pretty soon. Looks like the lights on the pace car's out. They're lining up double file with Jason Martin on the inside. Let's see if he can capitalize on it. Barney?
Yeah, here we go, under green, folks. Waiting for Jason Martin. He goes now, and Josh Micklemore outside. How are we going further back? Clean start. Sam Deventia, low line. The 24 of Danny G pushes up a bit. He loses a position on the 920. Chris Purnell as he goes through. Keep an eye on Chris. It's looking like the 920 looking pretty racy at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
So, we'll get back to the action here as the 920's now trying to hunt down the 95. but at the moment it's Jason Martin out in the lead, 0.2 of a second, but Josh isn't going to let him go as we jump on board now with Jason. Just see him working at the wheel there. Lap 26, folks, out of 500, long way to go, and we can see Josh wants that lead back.
Yeah, he does, but I don't think he's all too worried about it. I mean, we're only on lap 27 right now of 500. There's plenty to go, and it looks like he's going to try and make him on the inside, and he doesn't like being behind Jason.
No, and we can see Mirko now starting to work his way back through the field, one lap down. He just got past Norman Clark there, and Joshua Carroll-Walden last on the lead lap, and Daniel Stevens one lap down behind him in the 98. But I tell you what, if we look at the gap at the moment, the boys aren't that far before they start getting into traffic, as we see Jason Martin here.
No, they're going to catch traffic relatively quick. You got Jason Carroll's about 7 seconds, which is half a lap behind, so it's not going to be too much longer before they start catching them. They just caught Joshua Carroll-Walden 7/10 in one lap, so look for these guys to be. We've got Roger Clark coming up on the apron there. Yeah, this is just going to be crazy.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we're going to jump in with Josh here. We'll show you the sort of speeds these boys are doing out here, folks, as we get on the gyro now, and we'll bring up your telemetry down the straight here up to 220, and then down through the corners about 160 at the slowest point. So mighty fast here. I guess the huge banking here is definitely helped these cars get glued to the track.
Well, the 30% banking has definitely helps them keep glued, and it's 20. It's it's progressive banking, so it's not exactly as steep as everybody thinks. And oh, there's a wreck right there. The 66 car is spun around, and we were out for a caution.
It's Daniel Stevens. He's hit the wall hard by the looks of that, and
right in front of Joshua Carroll. He just almost missed him. That was a good call on Joshua's part.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. That's going to be the danger, isn't it? Is if you get caught up in someone else's wreck. He just interesting. He got loose over the start-finish line. Norman Clark got clipped, but Norman down on the apron as well. Saved that car from the wall. But check out Daniel Stevens' damage hard into the wall over the start-finish line. What do you take from that, Gary? It seemed a bit strange how it snapped at that point.
Yeah, sometimes they can snap, and it just gets away from you. I'm looking at him right now, and as he's going, he let's see here. Looks like shoot, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was bizarre, wasn't it? It didn't look like he lost it off the corner. It looked like he lost it just after.
It looks like his car got free coming out of the turn, and it just kept turning and down into the inside of the wall. It hit and right smack T-boned the wall and took out the nose of the car.
Yeah, as we can see them coming back on pit road now to take service here. I'm just having a look at Stephen Williams in the 98. He'll stay out. He'll want to get that lap back, which he does. So does Ryan Shelton, and they'll go back to the queue. Daniel Stevens after that, his car's not looking to crash hot, down 2 laps. Roger Clark also in the pits taking service, also down 2 laps.
Roger Clark looks like he's down 6 laps, as he's been in the pits for a little while.
Yeah, and coming off pit road, Josh Mickelmore won that race off pit road ahead of Jason Martin, so they swap around. Sam Deventia still sitting in 3rd. He's pretty confident coming into this race tonight. And, we'll see how he progresses. Danny G in the 24, 4th. Edward Foster 5th in the 53. He's got his old mate and racing jousting partner, you could say. That's Thomas Hinds in the 52 right behind him. Then Luke Emerton in the number 7 late into the server, but his car's looking pretty good at the moment. 8th, Joshua Carroll-Walden. 9th, Matt Clowett. And rounding out your top 10 is, Matthew Clowett by the looks of it. I got it wrong. Just looking at who got the wave by there.
Looks like Chris Pruitt is in the 10th spot right now. But he's sitting in the pits looking like he's doing some damage control. So that's going to put Norman Clark, as soon as he comes around pit road, is going to put him up in the top 10 with Mirko Jernak in 11th as these guys get situated with the car sitting in the pits. Looks like Stephen Williams and Ryan Sheldon go ahead and take the wave around and get back on the tail end of the lead lap before they start.
Yeah, they actually stayed out, and I tell you what, Ryan Shelton, he hasn't come to the pits yet, but Chris Purnell in the 920, they just got him out as the safety car came on the front back straight, so good work there by the pit crew, keeping an eye on it and making sure he stays on that lead lap.
Yeah, that's important here to stay on the lead lap. You don't want to get too far behind. One lap behind, you can hope for a caution. Nope, here we go, green flag racing as Josh McElmore takes to the green.
Yeah, Josh going high, Jason low, 24 at the moment. That's Danny G. Got a good start, and he rounds up Sam Deventier as Sam's now flashing in and out. You don't want to be doing that. For the people new to iRacing, that's a poor internet connection in the Servotron, I guess. Under yellow once again. That's the number 11 and the 920 into each other.
Let's rewind out and see what we got here.
Yeah, that was Norman Clark. Yep, go for it.
Looks like Norman got into the 920 car and just kind of got him twisted up.
Yeah, and went in the wall. The number 4, Ryan Shelton, also around in sympathy. And Mirko Dortnek, he got into the 920 and spun him. Tell you what, Mirko's... He's having an unlucky run. He's inheriting other people's wrecks at the moment.
Yeah, he is. Roger Clark just he went up the track, and Chris had nowhere to go and collected him and a couple other cars. And these guys, it's a half a mile. You have nowhere to go once these cars start wrecking.
Well, that's it, and that's the key to winning this race, I think, is staying out of trouble early on, pacing out the laps. When do you reckon they're going to start getting serious and get into full race to the end mode?
Oh, I think they're serious now. It's just a matter of getting these tires up to temperature before they really start racing. Some of these guys, they've got to go. The ANZCAR group is not a group that relies on one lap wins, so I can't say that like you can with a lot of the iRacing races. These guys, they got to win on that first lap. I think with ANZCAR, they know these races are endurance races. They know they're full-length races, but we're human. We make mistakes, and we don't have that almighty spotter set up on there tell us exactly every move. We've got a computer spotter that is only as good as the human that inputted the data for that spotter. So with the incident that Roger had as he's going up high on the track, his spotter probably didn't communicate to him that the 920 was there, and that started out this mess. So these guys are serious. There's no doubt about it in my mind. These guys are serious, and short tracks like this usually takes first 75 laps to settle down, and everybody will get racing, and we're gonna have long green laps here pretty shortly.
Yeah, they'll sort themselves out, and at the moment we can see the 75. That's Darren McKenzie. He did not start the race tonight, but they've got that car sorted, pushing it out. No doubt he's going to circulate his 42 laps down and out there to have a run. Cars that are in trouble out there, Ryan Shelton, we saw him on the roof earlier. He's 1 lap down. So is Chris Purnell. He's going to go down 2 laps as they try to go to work on those fenders. Norman Clark in the 11. He's gone down 3 laps. Daniel Stevens in the 66. He's down 11 laps. And Roger Clark in the 35. He's down 12 laps at the moment.
The lights are out on the pace car as Daniel Stevens goes around and gets back on the tail end of the lead lap, and the pace car is going to lead Josh Malcolmore and Jason Martin to the green flag once again, with Danny G and Sam DeVentiar going to look like to try and change the lead up. And we're going back to green right now as Josh Malcolmore jumps out in front of Jason and takes the lead.
The sparring partners are at it. Well, they're not at it at the moment. They're racing side by side. That's Thomas Hinds and Edward Foster. And Thursday night, Edward got into Thomas Robbins' race, and they said, and no hard feelings, and they're back at it again tonight.
I don't think they're going to have no hard feelings tonight if they get into each other. I think it's going to be one of them's going to get a little ticked off, and they're getting awful close to getting some tire rubbing here.
Yeah, they certainly are, about a car length, and we saw Thomas's car there just get a little bit loose off the corner as he's now running that low line. He's got Edward on the top, and I tell you what, Danny G, he floated it into that corner. It started getting loose, but he gathered her up. And as we go around at the moment, these two boys, they're racing hard. That's the 52 and the 53.
Usually you go in these races and you pin the guy down on the apron, he has nowhere to go. But at Bristol, you pin that guy up high, he has nowhere to go, and he could be involved in your accident. And that's good racing right there between the two guys, Thomas and Edward. They got a little close, but they managed to make it through it.
Yeah, that's right. And we're riding with Thomas at the moment. You can see Edward up there starting to work on the back of Danny G. Lap 52 here, folks, of 500. It's going to tick down quick as they go long runs in the green. And now we can see the 52 having a lunge at the 24 down low, the 24 up high. And they'll do this for a few laps. And this is what makes it so hard, isn't it? As Thomas just gets it a tad loose.
Yeah, as these guys get through, the tire temperatures to build up, these guys will be a little bit more stable here in about 5 laps. And you'll see a little less of the looseness as you won't tightness. These guys will tighten up, and you'll see these front ends start just kind of like going straight on the track. What we got there?
Just trying to get the car there. It's a purple car. That's my expert opinion.
Yeah, that's what I caught. That was a quick one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find who it
Ryan.
was. Don't know if it was Ryan. Was it Ryan again? Let's go and have a look.
No, it wasn't Ryan.
Yeah,
this is crazy. I hate this when this happens.
Yeah, well, it definitely wasn't Ryan. The guy was already in there. I'm leaning out the window here, folks, trying to get it. And, oh, man, that was Jason Martin.
Yeah, the 21 car of Jason Martin got sideways and coming out of the turn and hit the wall. Could be the end of his night, but you never know.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's interesting. We're just going to have a look at this replay here, folks, and he pretty much got loose up into the wall. That was turn 2, out of turn 2, 3, and here we go. Let's have a look at this.
As he comes out of turn 3, his start-finish line into turn 1, he's coming in high. It looks like he gets right up against the wall, gets loose coming out of turn 2, and just comes to a stop before he hits the wall. So he might not have any damage, and he might just get back in the pits, get a new set of Goodyears on there, and get going. But he's going to have to do it from the back.
Yeah, he's down there at 11th. He kissed the wall in turn 2 the lap before and got up into it again, which turned him there. How different do you reckon these turns are at Bristol from turns 1 and 2 into 3 and 4?
The banking is identical, but the speed that you carry out of turn 3, or actually out of turn 4 into the straight versus turn 2 into straight, it's a big difference, and it all depends on how you take it and where you can take it. So it looked like he was trying to chase down Josh, but didn't pan out for him as he got a little tight. Now, whether he tried to turn in too soon, missed his mark, you missed your mark on the track to turn, and it's all over for that turn. So, he scrubbed the wall, come out and spun, and he might have just, doesn't look like there's any damage on his car, Looks like he just tapped the wall on the straightaway, got in the pits, got it fixed. I don't think that's going to be a problem for him. I think he's just going to tighten his belts and hunker down.
That's it. The biggest danger he's probably got at the moment is if he gets caught up in an incident here. I'd like to give a shout out to Mark Cohen. He's enjoying our broadcast tonight, and I'm glad you are, mate. It's been one heck of a race at the moment. A lot more cautions than I was expecting, but it should get faster as the night progresses. Looking at the front row now, we've got Josh Micklemore and Danny G. Let's see how Danny goes at the restart here.
You know, it's unfortunate Mark Cohen couldn't join us tonight. He did very well in Daytona, but unfortunately his work time has taken away from joining ANZCAR on this race. So it's Friday night for us here in California, and he's working right now and able to get so. Pace car is off, and we're going to take the green flag here with Danny G and Josh out front. Josh takes the lead, and that's a clean start, Marty.
Yeah, clean start so far. We can see further back though, Josh Carroll-Walden there. The car pushed up high, he's gathered it up, and right behind him is Mirko Dortmund. Tell you what, that car's looking more like something from a demo derby at the moment, but fortunately for him, we're not on the super speedway. Further back though, Jason Martin starting to work the back now of the number 90. That's Luke Emerton. Luke up high, Josh down low, and he's got that run. He's going to claim another position.
Yeah, Jason's going to have to dig deep and reach in his box of patience and really grab a whole handful, because he's going to need it to pass these guys. These guys are all trying to get up there, and some of them have ill-handling cars, some of them have wrecked cars. So hopefully Jason can just kind of be patient. We're 64 laps in. We've got a lot of laps left. There's 62 cars into the wall. He notices that, stays down low. Yeah, it's just a matter of patience for Jason as he climbs up into the 7th spot.
Yeah, so we're actually riding with him at the moment. You can see just ahead of him, Sam Deventia. He's dropped a couple of positions now, down to 5th, as we can see up ahead. That's Thomas Hins and Danny G going at it. And we'll see how these boys go. But at the moment, we've got Josh Micklemore leading Edward Foster, and that's your 1-2. And then the ones up ahead are still battling it out. That's Hins and Danny G.
Yeah, Mirko's got a pretty damaged car. The whole front end of that car is damaged. Now that's going to have to pay, dividends to the front arrow. He's not going to have a whole lot of front downforce on his car. Granted, Bristol doesn't require a lot of downforce, but in his case, with everybody else having their front ends, he is going to fall back. He's falling back to 8th, 3.2 seconds behind the lead. Right now, I think he's just hanging on, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. With Joshua Carroll-Walden is just about 2 seconds behind him, so he doesn't really have to worry about too much competition right now.
Yeah, keeping pace there as we see Thomas Hins now. He couldn't get past Danny G on the low line. He's tucked back in now. He's got Sam Deventia, Jason Martin now right behind him. Got a battle pack of 3 as Jason tries to work it, but we are under caution here again tonight, and it might have been Mirko because he's in the pits.
I'm trying to scroll through here and see what happened.
Yeah, we'll jump back to a replay and just see if it was Mirko. I have a feeling it might have been. No, it wasn't. He pulled it back in the pits.
I think he pulled in just because I think he was running tight.
Oh, there we got it. The 920, Chris Purnell around up into the wall. The 9 was involved in that. Norman Clark also up into the wall, and it's claimed about 4 cars here. So it was a 920, and Roger Clark involved. His father, Norman Clark, also involved, but he had nowhere to go. That's the second time he had nowhere to go and up into the outside wall there.
Yeah, it kind of looked like they got into each other. Joshua Carroll-Walden and Chris Parnell got into each other like turn 2 and 3.
Yeah, we're going to jump back and try and pick this up here. We're going to go to a wide view here, folks, so we can just see the action from the blimp and catch the cars involved. The 98 was there, and so was I'm not sure who else was there, but caught up a few. Not too bad a wreck though.
As we come across the start-finish line for lap 66, Chris Purnell comes through into turn 1. He is way loose, gets into the 9 car of Joshua, and just everybody else just has nowhere to go. Looked like Norman tapped the rear end of the 920 car. A little bit of damage there, but Norman might be able to fix that.
Yeah, have you got a count on how many cautions we've got?
No, sir. I lost count about 3 ago. Come on.
I think we must be around about 5 at least. At least 5 or 6 at the moment.
It could be. I mean, you know, cautions are one thing, and that's going to extend the race. But I think these guys, they're looking at, they're counting down these laps for lap 74 right now. 400 and got a lot of laps though. But the amount of cautions we've had so far really isn't gonna do us any good, if you know what I mean. I mean, we're gonna have more, but hopefully these guys get straightened out and can run some green flag laps. I don't think we've had more than 10 so far.
No, we got a bit of momentum at the start, then the yellow started coming out. But to look at the cars that are laps down at the moment, folks, we've got Mirko Dortnack. He is 2 laps down, trying to get him on screen. It looks like the pit crew's managed to screw a front end on that car now, and so he's 2 laps down. Ryan Shelton 1 lap down. He continues. Chris Purnell in the 920, 6 laps down. Roger Clark 10 laps. 11 laps down is Danny Stevens. He needs to get a front on put on that at some point tonight. Norman Clark 12 laps down. Darren McKenzie 42 laps down, but he did not make the start.
Looked like Norman Clark got the wave around or the lucky dog. He run around the pits. So when it comes around, the pace car is going in. Josh McLemore taking the green. He got a really good jump start on Danny G there. I'm not sure Danny G is going to be able to compensate on that. With Ed Foster right behind him.
Yeah, he got caught napping, didn't he, as Edwin now goes for a lunge on the inside. He's got momentum there. He takes that position and moves up to second. Here comes Jason Martin down low. He can smell another position as he takes it. I think Danny G's in a bit of strife here.
As we got Jason Martin looking at 4th, taking that 4th spot from Danny G from Thomas Heens, looking, and now he's got the 3rd spot from Danny G. Jason Martin isn't messing around, considering he was 9th 4 laps ago.
Yeah, as you see now, Danny G getting that car up to pace, and Thomas Heens is just a tad too slow in pouncing while Danny G was vulnerable there, but now he's trying to work that low line on the 24, and he's working pretty hard at the wheel at the moment.
Looks like Thomas Heens is a little better into the turns than Danny G, but Danny G is able to get out of the corners better than him. But looks like Josh McLemore is just running away with this right now with half a second lead on Edward.
Yeah, no, in the back of his mind, he'll know that there's going to be another yellow at some point tonight. Sam Deventia, he's faded as well. I'm not sure what happened to him. So it was off pit road, but the 95 down in 8th position. Saw him in the top 3 earlier tonight. Now he's got his work cut out for him as we are on lap 82 here, folks, of 500.
As he's sitting in the 8th grid with Joshua Carroll right behind him with the 9 car. And let's see, the 920, he is 6 laps down. Looks like he's trying to get his laps back as he's coming up onto Steven DeVente. And I don't know. Kind of looks to me like Chris has got something to prove as he's down low. So I'd say that. He's down on the infield.
Yeah, that was Ryan Shelton. He got loose there, kept it off the wall, gathered it up. Just missed the entry to pit road there. He's back out there pushing. At the moment we have Josh Mickelmore leading this race. He's led 67 laps of this race. Coming into it, Jason Martin said he was a man to watch, and he's definitely proven what he said right at the moment. Edward Foster now in second. And then Jason Martin in third. Excuse me.
With Daniel G in fourth, and Thomas Hines and Daniel G fighting for position there, as it looks like Thomas Hines and we got a caution out again. Bernie?
Yeah, we'll jump back and see if we can find out who's brought this one out this time. We can see a couple of wrecks there. One is Roger Clark, as we'll see who's coming through here, and that was Darren McKenzie involved in that one. Let's jump back and have a look. Tell you what, Roger's, his night's done. Have a look at that car. It's crabbing down the start-finish straight here. Yeah, first retirement for sure. What do you reckon, Gary?
It could be, but he could sit it out and hopefully get that car fixed. Let's see what happens here. As I watch, I'm looking back on the replay, and oh man, these things. Looks like he got into Daniel.
Yeah, he got loose there and it snapped up into the wall, didn't it? You can just see him there. Darren, hard into the wall. And same with Roger Clark. Now his dad's coming through. What's he going to do? Go high, as they'd say, which he does. Josh Mickelmore also on the tail end of that. But fortunately, by then, both cars were off on the infield.
Yeah, Josh was able to skate through there and not get anything.
Yeah, so we can see the two cars now coming in. That's the 35 of Clark. The number 4 also coming in for service. That's Ryan Shelton. He got loose and almost spun it on the infield the lap before. So he's also struggling out there now. Darren McKenzie, he's staying out.
Yeah, it looks like your top 5 guys are coming in. Grab a new set of Goodyears, some fuel, maybe make a couple adjustments. I don't think these guys have had enough laps on to know what kind of adjustments they need to make. But you got the top, let's got the top 6 guys coming in. Grab the tires, fuel, and see what happens after that.
Yeah, so Jason Martin now up to second. He's got past Edward Foster, I'd say, on pit road there. So looking at your top 10 as they stand, folks, Josh Mickelmore leads this race. He's led 72 laps of this race. The other people to lead a lap is Jason Martin sitting in second on 16 laps. And Mirko Dortnack did lead a lap, but he's down there, 1 lap down now after getting into a bit of strife. So looking further back, we've got Edward Foster sitting in third. Fourth, Danny G. We'll see what he can do on the restart. Thomas Hinds, 5th. Matthew Clowett, 6th. Sam Deventia worked his way back up to 7th. Joshua Carroll-Walden, 8th. Luke Emerton, 9th, and Stephen Williams. That rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, these guys, they all came in the pits and in the positions, and they all came out. Nobody swapped positions. Everybody must have done the same thing in the pits. And you've got the 62 of Mirko. God, that's such a name. The 75, the 66. Those guys look like they're behind the pace car, and they might be taking the wave around.
As they sort them out, and the pace car lights are out here at Bristol, folks. 92 out of 500. It's going to be a long night. Not sure if I'm going to be able to keep up the pace of this, but we'll definitely try.
It is a bit interesting having to do this for a little bit, but see what these guys that are a lap down, 5 laps down. Daniel Stephen 10 laps down. Let's see if you can give these guys room.
Yeah, we'll see Edward Foster was caught napping there down on the inside. The Thomas Hinds and Danny G, they go at it once again. Thomas low line, Danny high line. We've seen this over and over again, and Thomas just cannot get past. He must be getting a bit frustrated by now.
Yeah, I think Thomas doesn't want to get into his teammate there. But I think that's the second time Edward Foster's been caught napping on the start. So I don't know if he's got something going on with his car or he's just not with it when it's time to go. But Jason Martin back up in the second spot, looking to chase down Josh.
Yeah, he's recovered from that spin, fortunately, and he's back up there racing hard. But we should also give a shout out, folks, to the people that have supplied us with the track cams tonight. and that is supplied by Track Cams Full Gourmet. If you would like to get this track cam yourself, you can go over and get it at trackcams22.com.
Right. We've also got the Edward Foster, which has the what is that? The APS. God dang it! I had it written down.
APCS.
Yeah, and I can't say it even looking at it, but those guys are out here tonight, giving it all they've got and giving us what we've got tonight. So
hins
shout
around
out to those guys building picture computers.
Hins around.
That's faster.
Yeah, sorry to jump in over the top of you there, Gary.
No, it looked like he didn't want to get into Daniel G as he was going into the turn, and as they're coming back on the straight, he just it loose going into turn 1 and into the wall. Just didn't hit it, but landed there on the inside, losing position to bring out caution.
Just having a look at the replay here.
Yeah, as he was going into turn 1, either I missed his mark, didn't hit, and he just got loose. Car got away from him. Fortunately, he didn't collect anybody else. Nobody else was collecting it. It was just a solo deal and got out the caution. So hopefully we'll get back to racing here real quick. Looks like the leaders are coming back into pit road. Kind of wondering what changes they would have made. Ain't done but 4 laps.
Yeah, well, I know Thomas Hins came in. The first thing they'd be chucking on that car are tyres, but I tell you what, he was lucky to keep it off the pit wall there. We saw in the happy hour earlier today Edward Foster go into that tyre barrier.
Yeah, it's no joke when you hit that thing. Your car's done. You're pretty much going to be done. I don't think you're going to spend a lot of time in the pits getting that thing fixed up without the iRacing Insta-Fix, as I call it.
You see what's left of Roger Clark's car. He's out. We'll jump down very quickly to have a very quick chat with him before we go green here, folks. Hey there, Roger. Are you able to talk, mate?
Oh, I sure am.
We've got what remains of your car, mate. That was a hard lick, that last incident you're involved in.
Yeah, it was. I had a bit of a snap loose and went up into the wall and managed to bend the car beyond drivability, I reckon.
Yeah, we saw that. Looked like it was crabbing pretty bad.
Yeah, it was. I was over at, I think it was about 100 to 110 degrees to the left, and I was still crabbing. So.
Yeah, you can't turn much more left than that, right?
No, I don't think there's much more luck in the car than that.
So what do you think, Roger? I mean, this is a short track. Everybody's prepared for it. I mean, what's the problem tonight? A lot of cautions tonight I mean, you guys are awesome. You guys are outstanding to watch. Everybody's got respect for each other, but what's going on tonight with all these cautions? I don't see a whole lot of stupid mistakes, as people say. What's going on? Did the track change from happy hour, from qualifying, or what's the deal?
I think the track has changed a little bit. We normally, with the league, we always run dynamic weather, so the track rubbers out all that. The temperature might have gone up or down, and everyone's cars are set to more or less the right temperature that they would practice and stuff like that. So there's a good chance that people are just finding it, a little bit more difficult as temps have changed and as the track's changed compared to what they've set up. And this is sort of what happens. Also, bearing in mind tyre wear and how easy it is to spin up the rears on the exit.
Yeah, well, we're sorry for your luck, buddy. Hopefully you can gather your stuff and get it back up for the next race. As we get ready to take the green, the pace lights, the lights are out, and we're going green with Josh taking the.
Yeah, Josh took the start there. He backed up the 53 of Edward Foster and the 24 of Danny G at the start there. Danny G now coming back under pressure from Thomas Hins. These boys have been at it now for how many laps? Josh Carroll-Walden in the 9, down the inside. He's going to take that position for Thomas Hins. No, he's not. But now we've got Sam Deventia. He's chewing on the back of the 9.
Yeah. Have you ever looked at something and grabbed something you didn't really want? I was looking at the 53 car, and I just lost track of totally everything I was going to say. And thank you for backing me up there because I totally lost it.
Well, it's mighty late over there for you. It must be past midnight.
I have no idea, but it was like looking at the Mountain Dew and grabbing a Mountain Dew Light.
Yeah, I'd be throwing that one
It was
back.
crazy. I mean, I was thinking exactly what you said, but I just couldn't get it out of my mouth. It was crazy.
Yeah, I know what you like. If I ever get one of those Diet Pepsis, I normally throw that back pretty darn quick. Not down my throat either.
Right. Well, Edward Foster looks like he's going to be a contender tonight. Looks like he's really nipping at Jason Seals. He's not letting Jason relax. That's for sure. And at the beginning of this race, Edward Foster really wasn't a hopeful for this top three.
No, it wasn't, but the race is definitely coming to him. And as he goes around, commentator's curse. Oh, and the 95 Sam DeVentia into the inside
right
wall.
into the wall. Yeah, I mean, isn't that like real NASCAR? You're talking good about the guy, and all of a sudden, wham, bam, he just does a whammy like that. I don't know what happened. I'm sitting here looking at him, and I still can't tell you he got loose. Didn't look like he would missed his mark. It's just the car just went away from him. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I have a knack of doing this to drivers, and I'm sure they don't like me. But
I think like Rogers just said, these cars, the temperature, the tires, everything is just all of a sudden, Roger got snapped loose, and it looked like, watching the replay, Edward just got snapped loose and just got free. And the car just went around on him. And with Sam DeVentia trying to miss him, ended up in the inside wall right before pit lane. Sorry for that guy. Hopefully he can get back in there and get the car fixed. It doesn't look like he's having too much luck there.
No, he was running really strong earlier tonight, wasn't he? As high as third, but that car's looking a bit bent up. I think, if anything, the 95 come off worse. Got the inside wall there. Edward Foster, he's back in eighth. He kept it off the wall as he just beats a 62 and the 90 out of pit road.
Yeah, it was close though. Also a close call with Thomas Haynes and who was that came out with him. They got really close as they were coming out of the pits.
But I tell you what, one thing Thomas is gonna go and buy his pit crew around tonight, because they managed to get him past Danny G. He's been working on the back of him for probably the last 25 laps, not being able to make that pass, and the pit crew did the job.
Looks like they got the pass there, and good thing that iRacing has a no collision in pit road, because those two would have collided and they would both have damage at this point, because it looked like they hit to me as they come out across the yellow line there coming out of pit road.
Yeah, I'd love to see iRacing implement collision in pit road, although it could get a bit crazy.
I would love that. I would love that, because some of these guys take advantage of that and run right through you, and it's crazy. And I've been racing since 1994. Way too many years to count. It's kind of embarrassing, but this whole driving through you in the pits drives me nuts. As I'm coming out the pits and the guy's driving through me, it's crazy. And I would really, really, really like to see iRacing put a stop to that and make these cars collidable in pit road. Keep the pace car non-collidable, because these guys like to go up, screw with the pace car. Of course, that screws with the race, but in the pit road, I think all cars should be collidable in iRacing, and give these guys a sense of responsibility and respect for one another. And for Thomas Hins, it's at this point right now, it's good for him and Danny G for that not to be happening.
Yeah, but the other thing having it non-collidable takes away from it is the skill it takes to get these cars into the box for service. In real world, some cars come in a bit crooked, and it makes it pretty hard to get another car in and out. But with non-collidable, it takes that away.
Yeah, especially with Bristol with the small pit stalls. And here they go. It looks like they're about to go racing again. Lap 116 as the pace car leads them down to the green.
Man, I tell you what, I'm almost out of coffee here, but here we go. Josh Mickelmore, Jason Martin. Josh goes just before green there, and Jason Martin high side Matt Cloet now in the 54, and then we can see Thomas Hinds. Now that he's past Danny G, see what he's got. But I'll tell you what, Edward Foster, he's racing pretty hard with the 98 at the moment. That 98 is, who is it? I'm trying to get the number there.
Stephen Williams.
Stephen Williams, there you go.
As he passes from behind, and now his next target looks like to be Josh Carroll Walden. As Thomas Hinds does decide to pull away from Danny G as he's working on the back end of Matthew Cloet. Hence these guys' names. I'm sorry if I mispronounce or anything like that, but hey, I'm in California. Give me a break.
I tell you what, mate, if you want trouble pronouncing names, come back later on tonight and help me commentate Sim Races Asia. I tell you what, some of those names. Oh, as Shelton around, he's into the wall he goes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Ryan's having too good of a night tonight.
No. Well, you know, you said at the start as a 35 also into the wall. That's Roger Clark. Roger's looking a bit squirrely there, but at least they got that car out.
Yeah, I think Roger's just out there. He's just going to try and finish the race, get some laps down, and he's definitely points racing with 36 laps down. I don't think he wants to get in anybody's way, and I think his biggest problem is getting out of Ryan's way, knowing that Ryan was ahead in position. He didn't want to hurt Ryan as he's trying to compete. He's in 11th spot on the lead lap. Good for Ryan, who was 2 laps down one time, now in the lead lap. So, you know what, Ryan, with his open setup and his late start tonight, kudos, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. And he was talking down his chances, wasn't he, at the end of qualifying, and we thought he was bluffing a bit, but he's definitely struggling out there at the moment. But he's back on the lead lap, so he's back in it.
He didn't think he had a chance, and you know what, I mean, 11th is still a good showing for him tonight for his first race with these guys. So I'm not going to discredit him in any way, shape, or form, as it looks like the 75 car goes another lap down.
Yeah, one car that is back on the lead lap's a 62. He was struggling earlier tonight with the front end hanging off that. The pit crew went to work, strapped another front fender on it, got that lap back. He's sitting in 7th position.
Yeah, he's done pretty well. He's running pretty steady right now. He hasn't made any mistakes since they put the front end. So maybe that front end was giving him a lot of trouble to begin with, which is a testament to iRacing and how they've done their physics with the body and aero and everything like that. So that's pretty good on your code to be able to get back up there in a 7th running position.
Yeah, now let's see if my prediction holds true and we go under yellow as soon as I say the guys are now in a bit of a groove and they're starting to get some momentum going here as we ride with Jason Martin working on the back of Josh Micklemore.
Yeah, as he works on the back of Josh Micklemore, I don't think anything's going to happen. Josh is pretty consistent, and these guys are running. And if you're talking about, calling the jinx on guys, you think guys like Stephen Williams and Ryan Shelton are going to be calling you, wanting you to really get on these guys up front to wreck them out. But as Josh comes into lap traffic, Jason might have a chance at him as he's a little bit lower line than Josh.
Yeah, this is when it starts getting serious for the boys here. Well, it's serious all along, but now with traffic, once they get into traffic on these green runs, they normally stay in traffic for the whole run, don't they?
Yeah, traffic seems to be a problem at Bristol, and it doesn't matter how good you are or how good you're running. Somebody's running better, and you're going to be in traffic, and you're going to be a lap car. So if you can manage to get around the lap cars, or if the lap cars can see you coming and get out of your way, more power to you. But it looks like Josh and Jason seem to be just kind of going right through them as they're leaving Matt Cloet behind a little bit. With Tim Hines and Matt Cloet trying to fight for position of 3rd.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going through them like a curry the next morning.
Oh man, that hurts.
It certainly does.
We've got Danny G putting Stephen Williams a lap down. These guys, it looks like we're going to have a good lap. Everett Foster has seemed to catch himself. and just staying right there. He's only 4 seconds behind Josh, but anything can happen. We've got a lot of racing to go yet.
Yeah, definitely. You can see, we were saying earlier tonight before I jumped in on you there, Gary, it's Edward Foster's carrying the APCS sponsorship on that car. They also sponsor the Camping Truck Series on Monday nights, as well as Xfinity on Thursday nights. If you need any computer gear, folks, go and check them out. And that's what they do.
That truck series is something else. Those guys out there actually get running hard. They wreck each other. They get back out there. They do the thing. And, the truck series is a really good race. If these guys want to get started with the ANZCAR, the truck series is a good place to start. Another good place to start is the K&N series that runs. And, it's a beginner series, a little slower than the trucks. But, these guys, they're all a bunch of good group of guys. Edward Foster has a lot into ANZCAR. They build good computers and good computers to run this game. So look into them. And if you don't have the equipment to run iRacing, look to them to help you out.
Yeah, definitely. And we can just see there now, Jason Martin's taken the lead. He's starting to stretch it as Thomas Hin's now having a go on Josh Micklemore. Maybe Josh's tyres are going off because he's dropped 2 spots.
Yeah, I think Josh slowed down a little bit. He missed his mark a minute ago and was able to allow Josh to get past him. But, I wouldn't count Josh out yet. He's done this in the past.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't count him out either. It's still a long way to go here, folks. We're not even halfway. 144 laps of 500. As we look further back, Ryan Shelton now, he's working on the inside of the 54, and then behind them is Danny G down there in 5th position.
Ryan is a lap down, so as he goes loose and into the infield, and we're free of caution. Good catch on Ryan. Hot dog.
Yeah, that's the second time he's done that. Makes us hold our breath, straightens her out, and keeps going. Keeps us under green once again.
Oh boy, and as looks like he almost lost position to Josh, but right now he is holding 8, 1 lap down. His next target would be Mirko, which he was working on for a minute. Right now he's next to Edward Foster, as Edward Foster runs the outside group in the 6th position, only 6.6 seconds behind Jason Martin.
Yeah, and if we go under yellow now, Ryan will get the lucky dog and get the wave through.
I'm pretty sure Ryan is so hoping for that. Saw a little bit of smoke out of that car. Could he have blown it up?
He's blown her up. There you go, you see.
It looks like Ryan's night's over.
Ryan's out, yeah. I just heard the pop. No smoke yet, but he's bringing that car down pit road, and his night's done. The other car, have a look, Roger Clark. I thought we saw him back out on track, but maybe I'm hallucinating because that car doesn't look any better than it did 20 laps ago.
No, I don't think Roger Clark is back out there. He's still sitting on pit road. His crew might be getting it fixed. Looks like Ryan Shelton is going to be done for the night with a blown engine. And it kind of sucks for him, but he was optimistic tonight. He did pretty good, 148 laps into this race with an open setup. I give kudos to Ryan.
Yeah, a couple of updates there. Roger Clark said he did get that car back out on track, just wasn't behaving itself, so that car's in the transporter. He's now looking forward to next month. Next month, folks, is the Coke 600. We'll see how he goes there. The other one, Sam DeVentia, he's hit the wall, got the meatball, 8 minutes of repairs.
Yikes, that's going to be quite a few laps down there. Unless you're really fighting for points, I don't even think I would worry about it. But, Mirko seems to be the last car in the lead lap, and he seems to be pretty steady since he's gotten that front end fixed.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, isn't he? And sitting there in 7th, he's got Josh Carroll-Walden 1 lap down behind him, trying to get past him there. And I guess if you're not racing for position and they start working on the back of you, you'd probably just let them go, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but Jason Martin is catching him. He's within half a second of catching him. looks like he's coming up to Josh Walton right now. So, Mirko could be going a lap down here any minute as he passes Josh Carroll, putting him 2 laps down.
And we're still under green here. Nice, fairly long run so far. We see the 75 now coming back out the track. That's Darren McKenzie, missed the start. And he's now 65 laps down, but he's pushing.
Yeah, caution out.
There you go. I did it again.
Well, let's see who was the cause of that one.
Jumping back, I can't see anyone off. I wonder if that was Darren McKenzie that brought it out.
These guys are so spread out. It's kind of hard to find out who it was.
Wonder if it was Darren. Jump back and have a quick look if it was him. Tell you what, we're about to get a storm here too, folks.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I can't find it. I mean, he come out of the pits, up on the pit road, and he's. It looks like some kind of warp, and him and the 98 car somehow got together during his connection problem.
I can't see what's brought that yellow out though, so that's a bit of a mystery as we see them coming back on pit road here. And at the moment the leaders are coming off pit road, so Jason Martin, he comes out first. Thomas Hinds, he beats Josh Micklemore off for the race at pit road, so he's up to second. Josh Micklemore third, Edward Foster fourth, and rounding out your top 5 is Danny G. The lucky dog was, I think it was it Ryan Shelton, or it might be Josh Carroll Walden? No, they're in the pits.
Matthew Cloet. But I'm going to go check on Brad here for a second and see if he's been able to get his child okay.
Yeah, no worries. No worries, buddy. So I hope everyone's enjoying the racing there. And a big shout out there to George Gibbs. He joins us a lot from the States. Normally it's breakfast time for him, but it's I think it's a bit early for breakfast over there in the United States of America. And just heard from Ryan Shelton. He just said, had a fast car, she just couldn't keep her under control. And Roger, he's pitted in front, he just said, that's a bugger. So there you go. They'll probably all go off and have a beer and start telling stories about their race tonight. So I hope everyone out there is enjoying our coverage of the Food City 500 presented by ANZCAR. If you've got any questions, come to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/RRTV Live if you're watching this on Facebook or Twitter. And put your questions in the chat channel, and we can try and answer them for you. Going to be going under green once again here, folks. 162 of 500. Long way to go yet, but it's been exciting. You're back, Gary.
Yeah, I'm back. It doesn't look like Brad's going to be able to join us tonight. His little league doesn't seem to be doing too well, so it looks like it's just going to be me and you for another 300 laps.
That's all right. I hope it's not too serious with his child there, and yeah, could be a long night for him.
I think he just ate something funky as we go back under green, and Jason Martin takes the lead.
Yeah, and Micklemore back on the inside of Hinds here. Hinds got left out to dry up on the high line, and Edward Foster down there in fourth position now, starting to work the back of his old sparring partner.
I'm wondering if Hinds has just got a lower gear for the start. He's just spinning his tires or something, because it's not the first time. Him and Edward seem to be... here we go, caution again.
Yep, it's the 66 of Daniel Stevens around. He actually got turned. Saw it in the background there. There you go. A bit of news there from Middle Finger Racing. Long run car for Danny G's smoking, as in not smoking an engine, but he's starting to work that car, and it's coming to him. They're predicting he's going to be on the lead as this race progresses, Gary.
Well, I can see how that would be a team thing, but if you got cautions after caution after caution, doesn't look like Danny G is going to be able to get anywhere unless he manages to pass him in the pits.
Yeah, we're just having a look at this replay as well. The 90 got into the back of the 66 there and turned him on the straight. Can see the 9 getting around there. Sam DeVentia also gets around, but the 90, that was Luke Emmerdon turning Daniel Stevens there.
Yeah, it looked like Daniel Stevens might have slowed down just a little bit as the 90 car goes up into him, gets his back end, turns him around, and those two just kind of looks like Daniel Stevens got I want to say the dirty end of that stick.
Yeah, and I tell you what didn't look like a big hit, but it shows how on the limit these cars are, isn't it? They just give them a very slight tap, and they can turn them. The other thing that can turn them is if the drivers take the air off that rear wing.
Doesn't take much to turn these cars, just a little bump. That was one of Dale Earnhardt's famous tricks here at Bristol. Just a little bump, doesn't even look like he touched them. They want to say you take the air off, but Bristol isn't an aerodynamic track, so there's a little slight bump, and it doesn't take much. With the progressive banking, it takes a little more than it did back in Dale Earnhardt's day. But everything is centrifugal force, and all it takes is a little bit of bump to send them to the outside wall, and around you go. But didn't look like the 90 car was able to come out ahead per se.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things, I'm afraid. But yeah, I miss the old days of NASCAR. That's when I used to watch it. So.
Yeah, they're not even on the same laps. I don't think they were racing for position. I think it was just they just got together. Daniel Stevens might have slowed down just a little bit. Could have got tight, could have got loose himself as Luke got into him. Luke is 2 laps down, Daniel Stevens is 10 laps down, so they're not racing for position, so I don't think it was any kind of grudge match going on there. Right now we've got Matthew Chloe, last car on the lead lap, in the 7th position, with still Jason Martin leading the race as they stack up to come to green.
Yeah, so leading them off here will be Jason Martin. Josh Micklemore on the outside. Second row is Edward Foster on the outside, Hins on the inside, Foster on the outside. Third row, Dortonac and Danny G. And then fourth row, Matt Clowett last on the lead lap in 7th.
As we go to Joshua Carroll, just 1 lap down now. If he gets as we go to green, Joshua Walton could be hoping for a yellow flag here. I know I would be if I was the first car in the lead on the lap down. Oh, as we got the 62 into the 53.
Yeah.
52.
Yeah, that's Hins. Hins is around.
Caution.
Oh man, that's going to be costly, isn't it? No caution, and you can
Caution
even.
for Hins. He's can he? There we go.
Do you reckon that was him bringing the caution out?
It would have been 52 and the 53 getting into each other. Again, those guys have been, right there. But hey, Joshua Carroll Walden is going to get the lead lap, as it looks like the 920 is smoking.
Yeah, let's have a look at the 52 here. Once again, very slow off the line. We've seen this time after time. Oh, he got him. 62 got into him. That's what brought him around.
As we were coming in, I don't know if he spun his tires or what happened, but 52 just didn't get going as 62 got into the back of him and spun him around. And with that late caution, it's going to kind of set him back there. But
yeah, he's bringing her down pit road. See if Jason Martin and that they're not coming down, so his crew are going to probably slap a set of tyres on that and get him back out. But I tell you what, pit road's getting to work out tonight.
Yeah, I'm back to looking. They made it a lap around after the green flag, and something 62 car of Mirko just came up and got into the back 52. He was a little loose, but not enough. But it looks like Mirko had a little bit of a run and didn't get out of the gas in time to not hit the 52. So, but hey, you know what? Josh McKellen, he's back on the lead lap, and it's going to be a good race for him.
Yeah, he's bringing that car in now to get it fixed. Now, when you said the 920 was smoking, were you meaning quick or actually smoking?
Smoking, actually smoking. It looks like he might have popped his motor. He is sitting in the pits right now.
So that's the second blow-on motor we're seeing here, and that's one thing I'd love to bring to our broadcast is to bring the engine temperature, oil pressure into the broadcast if we could get hold of that telemetry, because it would really show the strain that these cars are under.
Well, the engine temperature, the water temperature, the oil temperature, they're all running right around 250, 280. You can get up to about 280 on these things before they pop, but if you hit the wall, and it looked like the front end of his Chris Purnell's car was pretty well damaged. I'm not sure if he spun and hit the wall, but the front of his car looked like it was pretty damaged. So in iRacing, the damage model, as you hit things, it takes a lot out of these cars, and it kind of lowers the ability of these cars and raises the kill point, if you want to say. So you hit the wall, you hit the wall, you hit the wall, and eventually the car's going to blow up. So it's hard to say what happened without going back, looking at the replay for Chris, but it looks like his night's over.
Yeah, so another car bites the dust, so to speak. So Roger Clark's pretty much done as well. Sam Deventier, he's 42 laps down now. His race is as good as run as well, which is a shame. Qualified really well tonight in the top 5. I think he qualified 5th, got up to 3rd, but then started to fade, and then it was a slippery slope from there. Got caught up in the incident, into the inside wall, meatball flag, end of race pretty much.
Well, I hope as a new guy coming into ANZCAR, he doesn't take that personal, and he joins us back again for another race. He looked like he was very competitive, looked like he can hold his own, and just, Bristol just bit him in the butt tonight, as they look like they're getting lined back up to take the green with Jason Martin. Edward Foster going to be leading these guys to green.
Let's have a look at the 52 starting here. He actually brake checked the 24 there just as they were coming around turn 3 or 4, so maybe Thomas isn't happy with something. We're actually riding with him at the moment. Could just have his temperature, as in driver temperature, a bit high after pretty much getting run over there at the restart.
Well, if his temperature is high right now at 178, I'm really not going to look forward to it at 378, because he's going to be boiling. He's still got a long ways to go with only 179 in the books right now. 500 laps is a long time around this track. So they're not even a quarter of the way. And if their temperatures are boiling, they might as well just park it right now, because they're not going to finish the race at that heat. Yeah,
that's it. And I don't reckon we're going to get to 500. I reckon.
Looks like Josh McElmore is going to try and make a pass on Jason as he puts him down. Takes the lead away from Jason as he goes across the start finish line, takes the lead back.
Yeah, and it's pretty much been these two trading the lead. At the moment, Josh McElmore, 123 laps. Jason Martin, it's 56 laps. The only other car out there that have led a lap is Mirko Dortnack. Looks like he might have left the server though.
Yeah, I think he left the server a few minutes ago. Looks like Edward Foster is not giving up on these top 2 guys here.
No, he's hunting them down, as is Thomas Hings now. That 52 is pretty racy, a bit slow off the line, but when he gets it moving, it definitely has a pace there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with him and that green flag. A little bit of lag on that green flag start for him, and he manages to catch back up. He, like you said, he did a little brake check on Danny G, and Danny G, he's not one to take that kind of crap from anybody. So I would look for Danny, even though his car's a little damaged. He's got a beeline on Thomas.
Yeah, well, these boys race week in, week out, so I don't know if they're just mucking around or not, but have a look at this, folks. We're in the cockpit cam here, and it doesn't look too steep, does it? But let's turn on that gyro cam, and that tells a true story of that 30-degree banking.
Yeah, it's crazy how much, in real life, these guys, the right sides of their bodies would just be planted to the seat in this car. The amount of G's that these guys pull, they really can't tell because it's not the Air Force. They don't have G suits on, so they can't tell how many G's. They can only speculate based on telemetry. But yeah, after 500 laps, it's definitely going to take its toll.
It certainly is, and you can just hear that rhythm. Gas on, ease it into the corner, and then bring the gas back on again as you exit that corner. And I guess after a while, you get into that rhythm, don't you, of just doing the pedal work there.
You've got the sound, you've got the vision. And in sim racing, you don't have the movement unless some of these guys have these motion sensors, but you don't have what the real guys have. So you have to rely on what the game is feeding your brain. And yeah, you get in that move, you get in that groove, you get in that complacent feel, and eventually it takes on, and you can just kind of get your groove on, like Jason is trying to catch Josh right here. Looks like he's looking low to pass him, but Josh, man, I don't think he's going to give it up.
Yeah, same back the Thomas Hines and Edward Foster, these two old sparring partners are going at it here. Thomas on the inside, working at it. He's been working mighty hard on that inside with these passes, but it looks like he might... Oh, we've got a contact behind, and I'm just trying to work out who that was. Heard the bang.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't hear any. You got the 98 car in pit road as Thomas Hines just kind of pulls away from Edward Foster for a moment.
Yeah, I'd say...
as you have a lead change, Jason Martin takes Josh for the lead as they put the 90 car another lap down of Luke Emerton.
Yeah, and saw Josh there go right up high, just clears the lapped car here. They're pushing the next one to get to Luke will be Hines. He's now starting to get a gap on Edward Foster. I'm thinking, I heard that bang. Maybe I'm starting to hallucinate.
I don't think you're hallucinating. I think honestly you heard a bang. Sam DeVentiar has just left the service, so he's going to finish this race in 15th, and it's a good effort for a guy that just started. I do hope he comes back, and I think he can be a good competition for the ANZCAR, and possibly really be something for these guys to handle.
He'll definitely come back. He's a typical racing driver. His manager basically said he had nowhere to go. They've called it day done. He's put that car back in the garage, but he said Sam is now already starting to get ready for the Racing League race tonight in the GT3 at Laguna Seca later on this evening. So he's already looking forward to the next race, which is typical racing driver, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Jason Martin told us he had a fast setup and a slow setup that's going to go the distance, and I think he put the slow setup in because 200 laps in, he seems to be walking away from Josh, who was the mainstream tonight. He's a second and a half away from Thomas Hines, who seems to be coming into his own, but Jason Martin seems to be just that groove you were talking about.
Yeah, so with the 52, he's slow off the line. Is it possible he's running, as you said, a different gearing to these other blokes?
He could. I think he's running. I think he's starting in a different gear. I think he might be starting in second versus third, and he's getting a slower start, spinning his tires or whatever. Or hey, he might have something else on his mind. His wife might be throwing dirt in his face. Who knows? Something is happening to him on the start, and it's not good, and he's having to catch up. I think if he could get a good start as Josh or Jason, I think he'd be right there contending for the lead the whole time. But he's having to work himself up. He's having to maintain and just hit his marks.
Got a smoker. Sorry.
Who we got smoking?
66.
Oh, Daniel Stevens, it's not good. He's not having a good night at all tonight.
Nah, that car's, well, it could be toast. It's probably hot enough under the bonnet there to make some toast. But, yeah.
He's got some damage. He could have some damage to the radiator. He could have third gear out and not be able to get around the track proper. So it looks like he's going to go into the pits and see if they can fix it.
Yeah, I don't like the chances of it though, but we'll see how we go. But at the moment, the Jason Martin show continues here as he's leading. Thomas Hinds second. That's probably the best position we've seen, the 52 all night. So the race is definitely coming to him. Josh Mickelmore third, Edward Foster fourth, and then we've got Danny G sitting back there in fifth position, the last on the lead lap.
Yes, we've got Matthew Cloet 1 lap down. It looks like he just hit the wall, trying to hang on to it. Luke Emerton 2 laps down, all by himself, just able to just try and hang on. Joshua Carroll Walden, who is a contender for the top 5, looks like he's got a lot of damage as he's coming up onto Norman Clark, not for position per se, but for race on the track. It looks like they're trying to pass and get things done. Norman Clark, 14 laps down, and Daniel Stevens, who we just saw blow his motor and round out the top 10.
Yeah, and then looking further down, 20 laps down to 11, 98. He's in pit road as well. His night's done. Mirko Dortmack has left the track. He's done. The 920 also in the pit road, 4 laps down. I'd say they're trying to fix it. Don't know how long he's going to be there. The other retirees, Ryan Shelton in the number 4, Darren McKenzie in the 75, Sam DeVentia in the 95, Roger Clark, the car is on pit road, but it's done, 37 laps down, and Lee Granty, he did not make qualifying tonight.
No, it looks like right now our race is between Josh, Edward, and Danny G as they look at 3rd, 4th, and 5th within not even 0.4 of a second of each other as they're looking for position as the 53 car. Edward looks to take on Joshua.
Yeah, Josh is starting to fade again, but we see this with Josh. He puts in the fast laps and then he'll fade. He'll move back down through the field and then he'll start moving back up again. So don't write him off yet, folks. At the moment, though, the 53 is working hard on Danny G, the high line, or vice versa, and both of these boys are starting to try to size up the number 2.
Yeah, I don't think Danny G is happy with 5th place. He really wants to get by the 53 of Edward and work on Josh, but in the meantime, you've got Thomas Hines out there running all by himself in 2nd place, 3.8 seconds behind Jason Martin, who seems to be just walking away.
Yeah, he's getting that gap. That's for sure. 219 out of 500, folks, and still a long way to go. Hope our voice hangs on, and Gary, I hope you can stay awake till the end.
Oh, this is actually getting exciting. No cautions, and we've got green lap runs, so it might play down to strategy with Daniel Stevens. I don't know if he's out trying to repair the motor or what he's trying to do. Stephen Williams is out, Mirko is out, so it looks like we're down to Norman Clark being the last guy out there running. 14 laps down, a nice spot.
Yeah, we just heard from the number 66 team. Basically, they've said, no, they're calling it a night. They've got too much damage on the front, and that motor's blown, and she's history for tonight.
Well, that kind of sucks for that team. I think they were looking forward to better than the top 10. I think Daniel Stevens is better than the top 10. But it just wasn't his luck tonight. Looks like Norman Clark is going to go another lap down to Jason Martin here as they go into turn 3. Norman Clark looks like another lap down as Jason looks like he's going to work on Joshua now, putting him another lap down. Looks like Joshua's trying to just seal this deal tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and we just saw there Edward Foster getting a little bit loose on the low line, and that's released to 24 now to work on the back of the 2, and this is pretty much the battle of the race at the moment, which is why we're focusing on this at the moment, folks.
Yeah, I think Edward Foster really is not happy with the fifth place position that he's in as he takes over the fourth place with Danny G. And I think he's going to work on Josh, as Josh kind of just going backwards just a little bit, as everybody else seems to be getting a little better.
Yeah, might have decided it's a bit too early there to hang on to the leaders, and might have decided to start to pace it out a bit as the 53 now goes back on the 2. And let's see if the 2's going to fight it. Oh, there's contact. And the 2. Hang on to it.
Boy, that is a good save. I got to give Josh McElmore definitely kudos on that. Hanging on to that car, that was definitely sideways. I think he's going to be bearing down on that 53 car because he kind of gave him a little bit of tap there and caused him a little bit sideways.
Yeah, I was going to say, pretty sure Valentine's Day's done and dusted, but the 53 definitely gave the 2 a bit of a kiss there.
Yeah, it's amazing. These guys are 12 seconds behind the lead, and they're still fighting like they're winning. It's great to watch. It's great, and I can only imagine what they would be, sitting there behind that wheel. As we look at, let's look at Danny G, as he's in the cockpit behind Edward.
That's Puppy Dog.
Yeah. They don't understand live TV.
It's all good. It's all good, mate. I've done my old man joke. It's your turn next.
As we sit behind, we sit in the wheel with Daniel G. as he's looking at the bumper of Edward. He's trying to find everything he can do. He's coming off that turn. He's getting in the gas quicker. He is trying to find a way to pass Edward. And as he catches up to him, he gets under him. Can he pass him? And that's, as you're sitting there looking at that wheel, you see that bumper come closer and closer and closer. Can I get down below him? Can I get down? Yeah, I'll break him. That's a lot of things going through your mind. And, this is third position, actually. And every position it's a spot, man.
Exactly right. And we're watching, have a look at the telemetry, folks, on the dash of Danny G's car. At the end of each straight, he's just getting her into the red line there, around just over 9,030 revs, roughly, or 9,140 revs, sorry, but that's showing how much work these motors are doing, lap after lap, for 500 laps around here.
When I was racing, that because of the red, even, now they're digital gauges, but you had, back when I was racing, we had the light that would come on, and that was your lift point. When you saw that light come on, you lifted, hit the brakes, and then you got back in it, and it was just a rhythm like you were talking about earlier. Light on, gas off, brake on, gas on, and it just became a rhythm like that. So you see red, and you don't lift. So it looks like that's what Danny G is doing. As soon as it hits the 92, he hits the red, 92, off the gas. He's back on the gas at 7,100 RPMs. He's trying, and he's got that rhythm, and he's trying to do it. So it's just a matter of, can his tires hang on? Can he hit his marks? The biggest thing with this track, hit your marks.
Exactly right, and I'll tell you what, this pace is speeding up here, folks, because would you believe Josh McElmore has just gone down a lap to Jason Martin, and the next one that Jason's chasing down is Danny G. At the moment, the pace is, we've only got 4 cars on the lead lap here.
I think 14 seconds Danny G is behind, so he's not that far behind Jason Martin. Hey, Jason Martin could be looking forward to putting everybody a lap down, then he's just on easy street. But right now, you have a fight between Danny G and Edward Foster. They are fighting for third position, and let me tell you, there's no love lost there, as Jason comes up behind him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if Jason can put all these boys a lap down, he's going to have a grin from ear to ear as we're just about to approach halfway here, folks. 244 out of 500. And hopefully now we're going to get a long green run and we'll see how we go.
Jason's pretty humble. I don't think he's going to be smiling just yet.
No.
I think he knows. If he takes a checkered and he's got everybody lapped down, I think he'll have a big old smile on his face. But until then, I think he's got the serious look on his face. He looks pissed off, and he's ready to take names. But as he's looking to put these two guys a lap down, we'll see what happens here. Danny G looks like he's trying to get low on Edward. Maybe he tried to hold his position, but Jason is looking like he's putting Danny G a lap down. Yep, he takes that position there, puts Danny G a lap down as he's working on Edward Foster, put him a lap down.
Yeah, you could see the 24 there just lift slightly just to let the leader go through. And now the 21 taking the 53 puts him a lap down. Now we're down to only 2 folks on the lead lap as we come very close to hitting the halfway mark here at the Food City 500 Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, we just got a couple laps here before it's halfway and the race is official. As looks like Jason Martin's putting everybody a lap down except Thomas Hines, so I can imagine he's got his sights set to put Thomas Hines a lap down. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. He's 4 seconds down the road at the moment from Jason Martin. So Jason will definitely be trying to put Thomas down a lap. And because once you do that, it's, as you said, begins to feel a little bit like easy street. But at the moment, I wouldn't be counting my chickens because we're only halfway here. And as we've seen, a lot of cars have run into trouble out here.
Yeah, it looks like Jason Martin almost got into the wall there going into 2 and 3. Or, I'm sorry, 1 and 2. And but he managed to stay off the wall, come around, and put Norman another lap down. Oh, as he taps the wall going in 1 and 2.
Who was that? Jason?
Jason, yeah. It's like he's trying to run that high line, and he's getting a little higher than he should.
Yeah, we saw that earlier tonight, didn't we? And he actually turned the car and dropped a long way down, fought his way back into the lead.
Dropped down to 9th place, almost a lap down, yeah.
So I'll tell you what, Gary, I don't know how the pros do it, but I'm already struggling with trying to keep my excitement up here. And,
I'm excited watching Jason Martin putting everybody a lap down. You know, you got the rest of these guys. You know, Thomas Hines, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. He's 11.7 seconds behind Jason, but he's out there running his own. He's got the whole track to himself. Edward and Danny G, they are still fighting for position. They are not giving up. You got Josh McElmore, he's back there. I know he's just biting his tongue right now. He's just biding his time. He's not worried. I don't think he's really worried. He knows there's plenty of time. Luke Emerton, just going, I'm not really sure. I haven't really seen a whole lot about him. Walden seems to be holding his own. Norman Clark, he's usually in the top 10. Well, he's sitting there in 8th. Very rarely is he 16 laps down. And you got Matthew Cloet, who, what the hell, where's he at? Oh, he must have lost. He just managed this collector. So we only have 8 guys running on the track right now.
Yeah, they're falling like flies. We started with 17, so 50% have retired. But yeah, I should correct myself. It's not excitement, it's energy. Trying to keep my energy up. But folks, if you're wondering what it's like to be a spotter on NASCAR, check this out. This is exactly what they see from the top of the grandstands here. Beautiful view, probably the best view in the house, but you can see here they need to be looking ahead of the car in case there's an incident. And anyone new to NASCAR, if you're wondering what the spotter does, well, pretty much tells them when it's clear. They tell them where an incident is and whether they need to go high, low, and all that sort of stuff. They also talk to the pit crew, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They talk to the pit crew. They talk to the drivers. There's a whole lot going on, especially at Bristol. Oh, damn dogs. You got less than half a mile. to try and get things done per lap. But right now, you have Danny G working on the back end of Edward Foster, and I don't think he's really happy with fourth place. What do you think, Bernie?
No, I don't think so. I think I've never met any driver that's not happy unless they're in the winner's circle.
True that, and I get you there, but right now they're a lap down. These guys are fighting for position, and unless a yellow flag comes out, which with 8 guys left on the track, we're going to go a few laps down. We might even see a couple of green flag stops. I'm not even sure where the pit cycle is right now, but these guys right here, they are fighting for position, and Edward Foster ain't giving it to him. He's not going to make it easy.
No, he won't. He's a racer from way back, I think, and he'll make Danny G work for every single position here, and probably every single inch, as Danny G there just brushes the wall and starts to work on the back of the 53.
Yep, Josh McLemore just went another lap down as Jason looks like he's working on Thomas Hines to put Thomas Hines a lap down.
Danny G back up into the wall there. I tell you what, the complexion of this race has totally changed in the last 40, 50 laps, hasn't it? The boys now, they're getting the groove on, and the laps are ticking down. We may get to 500. I'm just having a look now. We started this race at, what time did we start it? Was it about 3 p.m, I think it was? And it's now 4:39 p.m. over here in Australia. So we've been running now for an hour and 40 minutes. We can go time certain at 3 hours 50.
Yeah, and these guys, Jason has definitely just caught his niche. As he's putting Thomas Hines a lap down right now on the outside, passing on the outside, turn 3, 4, and takes him a lap down as he passes the start-finish line.
And this is what makes Jason Martin so formidable at these sort of NASCAR races, is he tends to be able to, once he gets his groove on, he sets lap after lap consistently. We know that he's gone for a consistent setup, and once he does it, he can not only do them lap after lap consistently, but he tends to look after his tyres, which I think is a key to NASCAR racing.
Right, where Josh McLemore seems to be running fast laps, kills his tires, runs back, cools his tire down, tries to get back up, but in this case, half a mile, you don't have that opportunity, and he's sitting there 2 laps down.
Yeah, well, normally in a road course, as Jason Martin up in the wall, just brushes it and continues. On a road course, of course, 14 seconds down, you can come back from that. Short track, 14 seconds down, you're looking at going down a lap.
Yeah, 14 seconds at Bristol is you're pretty much lapped down right now. As Jason Martin, he's he might have tapped the wall, but that tap didn't hurt him at all.
No, it's just a little brush really, and these cars are pretty strong. So see though, Danny G, he's still working on the back of Edward Foster here, and tell you what, they've been going at it for quite a number of laps now, haven't they?
Yeah, it's going to be a call on the pit road as both of those two come up with Josh McLemore, and they're going to put Josh McLemore a lap down, as well as Jason and Thomas. But we're gonna be seeing some green flag stops here pretty soon if these guys don't wreck. So I'm looking forward to seeing some green flag flops as Josh gets into the wall.
Just see that. Oh, we were looking at the gearbox cam there, and the 24 threaded the needle between the number 2 of Josh McLemore and the number 9 of Josh Carroll Walden. In fact, he nearly got into Walden as he went through there.
Yeah, it was a crazy little hole those guys went through, but I think Josh was just trying to get out of those guys' way. He knows he's a lap down, and I think he just used a little bit more of the track than he had available to get out of these guys' way, let the 53 and 24 continue on racing each other.
Okay, a bit of an update on the 66 here. The pit crew haven't given up on that car. They're actually taking the engine out at the moment, and they're swapping it out, and he reckons she's going to be good to go in 15 minutes' time.
That is what you call dedication, Bernie.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it certainly is. And
It ain't over till the fat lady sings.
that's exactly right, and the 66 is 87 laps down, so I take my hat off to the dedication of that 66 team MFR.
Well, it's all about points at this point for those guys. If they can get out there and they can do another 30 laps, I mean, we've got 283 on the books. So they've got time. If they get 15 minutes, you've got 15 minutes, probably looking at 45 laps. You're still going to have enough time. If they can gain another position, they can gain more points. As on Matthew Cloet. So yeah, I mean, it's all about points right now, and even Norman Clark, if they can get out there and give Norman Clark a run for his money, you know, it's all about points right now for the 66 team.
Yeah, exactly right. And I tell you what, the 24 got a good run off turn, I think it was 4 back there, and he almost got past the 53 here as we're riding on board with him, got it a bit loose, and he drops back off the back of the 53.
Daniel's got his strong points, and every other lap he seems to be able to get up underneath Edward and make Edward think twice about what he's doing. So I wouldn't put Daniel G out of anything for right now, as he's working on the back end of Edward.
Yeah, so for the folks joining us tonight, just now, if you have just joined us, Jason Martin continues to lead this race. He's led 152 laps of this race. He is the only car now on the lead lap. He's coming up to put Edward Foster, Danny G down another lap, and they're running third and fourth. In second spot, we have Thomas Hines in the 52 Rack Corp entry. Then third is Edward Foster, Danny G. These boys have been battling for most of the night, and they continue on as they go side by side once again. Josh Micklemore sitting in fifth position, and that's your top 5.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be time to pit for Jason, as Norman Clark just passed him like he was standing still, and he's catching up to Edward and Daniel pretty good. So I think Norman's got him a good set of tires on there right now, and it looks like these leaders might be having to pit here pretty soon, so it could get interesting.
Yeah, it certainly could. They're now down to the 16-second mark, so they've dropped 2 seconds a lap with those old tyres. But there goes.
Close with the number 9 car of Joshua. Oh, wow.
That was at number 11, Norman Clark. He's
I think I'd be pulling foam out of my butt.
Yeah, he's Norman Clark. He's down 19 laps, but as you can see, he is not letting up. And
that was crazy right there.
I'll tell you what,
that was right in front of the leader too. Josh, Jason had to have seen that, and I know he had to be going, oh no, not right now, because that was just crazy.
Do you see Edward? He lifted. He's dropped right off the back of Danny G. He's probably still trying to pick his lip up from the bottom of that helmet.
Jason puts, oh my God, as Jason puts Edward another lap down. Oh, this is crazy right now with Jason.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Oh man, if you could go back and get the replay of the cockpit on Jason when he saw that, that would be crazy right there. Because, I mean, that was 3 wide, and there were 2 cars that were loose. That was no fun for me.
No, that's right. And he's probably thinking, what do I have to do at the moment?
I imagine right now, Josh is getting resettled in the seat. He's got plenty of time in front of him, plenty of time behind him. He's coming up on the 24 car of Danny G, but he's probably about 2 seconds behind him. And I imagine he's just kind of settling back down and trying to get that adrenaline back in check so he can continue on. His laps slowed down a little bit for the past couple laps, but I think he's going to get settled in and continue on. But Thomas Hines, shout out to him. He's just out there running by himself, and holding his own pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much just into the groove, and you can see the black starting to appear on this concrete surface. How many concrete tracks are there in the NASCAR circuit?
Full concrete tracks, one.
That's Bristol?
Martinsville has concrete, but not all. So Bristol, to my knowledge, right now is only the concrete track.
Yeah, and there's one that has, it might have been the one you're talking about. It's got asphalt down the bottom, is that right?
Martinsville has concrete corners, inside
okay.
concrete corners.
There's another one though, isn't there, with
Dover.
Dover, is it?
Yeah, Dover's fully concrete. The deal with concrete is concrete doesn't heat up the tires as much as asphalt does, so there's a little bit more grip throughout the tire run. But in the sense of a little bit more grip throughout the tire run, you're going to have a little bit more tire wear throughout the tire run with concrete versus asphalt. The tires will slide on asphalt, whereas they kind of get chewed up with concrete.
Yeah, and I guess what's the reason for running concrete? Does it wear better than the asphalt as far as the surface, or is it just an old track?
Lasts longer.
Okay.
Concrete lasts a lot longer than asphalt. Now they've done Bristol recently, but Danny G is
kissing the wall. Yeah, he got into the wall. That's one way to enter the pits. Let's have a look at that, because
yeah, no caution. Looks like these guys are pitting. Thomas Hines sitting in the pits. Danny G coming into the pits. Edward Foster's still out. Jason Martin's still out.
Just jumping back here a bit, folks, and we'll have a look at what happened here. He was letting Edward Foster through, so we knew that his tyres were done. And next couple of corners.
Looks like Josh McElmore has left the circuit.
Wow. That's a big scalp.
Our last car on the track, 7th spot, Norman Clark, MFR.
Just having a look at this replay, folks, and it looked like Danny G was getting ready to bring it in. He was off the throttle there, and it just got unsettled in the corner, hit the wall.
Yeah, it looks like as he hit the apron, the car unsettled itself, and just his brakes took over, and he braked into the wall, trying not to enter pit road too fast.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. It didn't look like a hard lick. He's back out there circulating after his pit window. But I tell you what, Josh McElmore, that's a big, the big one. The other one is the 54. He looks like he's also left the server. That's Matthew Clowett. So he's gone. Josh McElmore, in fact, he's been gone for a bit because he's 22 laps down, 23.
Well, he just left. He was going laps down, and he just decided to. I don't know what caused him, what prompted him to leave. If his car got loose, or if he just decided to call it quits, car blew up, or whatever. But yeah, 24 laps down. Joshua Carroll Walden seems to be the last guy on the roster here that's running, 17 laps down. His only competition, Norman Clark, who I think he is quite far behind right now. So right now we just have 7 guys on the track, racing around in circles, having fun, having a good time. Hopefully, we'll see what happens at the end.
Yeah, I'm seeing the 53 at the moment, folks, taking his stop. 15.217 seconds. He was in his pit box, and he comes back out.
As Jason Martin is just keep continuing on his rant, I would say. Isn't he the one that did it in the Xfinity Series?
Yep, he certainly did, and the man that hunted him down towards the end was Josh McElmore. He came from 3.5 seconds back with not many races to go, or laps to go, and they finished probably a couple of tenths. Yeah, that's a 90 around. That's Luke Emerton there in the cage-centric entry, and we'll have a look at what's happened to him. Jason Martin once again goes past a wreck.
Yeah, it looks like he just lost control of the car, got loose, and got into the wall. But you know what? That's going to give Thomas Hines the lucky dog. He's going to be right up there with Jason Martin to give him the what for. And maybe we might have a race here at 316 laps in.
And we just saw Luke there. Tell you what, any higher and Jason would have been cleaned up there. He gassed it up to get it back on the track, and she let loose, and he ended up coming up on the track. That's Luke Emerton, and he jumped on the brakes, and Jason just had enough room, probably a couple of cars, to go through. But interesting, Jason pits under yellow. Most of these guys went under green, so that means he's extended that advantage.
Pretty much, but we'll see what's going to happen. What's going to happen? Thomas Hines is going to get the lucky dog, and right now it looks like Jason's. Well, he's obviously going to be in the lead, but we'll see what happens on after the yellow comes out. But right now it looks like Jason's race to lose. Thomas Hines is going to be back on the lead lap. We'll see if Thomas has anything for Jason, but right now Jason in the long run looks like he's the one to beat.
Yeah, and Danny G's down a lap, but he's right behind Jason here, so he may get that lucky dog and move back onto the lead lap as well.
Daniel's going to need another caution to get the lucky dog, providing he doesn't let Jason get away from him. So let's see, Daniel should be pitting here pretty soon. Why didn't he pit? Did he pit yet?
Yeah, he did. He got the wall on the way in.
Oh, okay. I didn't think he pitted yet. But yeah, he just got to be able to stay up there with Jason and pray for another caution. I know I'd be praying for. If I'm sitting behind the leader, I'm a lap down. I tell you right now, I'm praying to the caution god because I want that caution to come out so I get that lucky dog.
Yeah, well, based on the laps down, I think we were in about 100 that time under green. You're going to have to be praying pretty hard.
Well, cautions breed cautions, as they say at Bristol, and you never know what can happen.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, and we'll see how we go. And just having a look, I don't think Thomas did get his lap back, because he's just slotted in behind Jason here. So I don't... are they going to give him a wave by?
That's crazy. They should here in a minute.
Well, the lights are out, so I don't think he got it back. I thought he got out in front, but then he's now dropped back behind Jason here, and the pace car lights are out.
Yeah, that's crazy here as we go with Jason Martin still leading the race with everybody a lap down.
Yeah, that's it.
That's insane. I thought for sure Thomas was getting a lap back.
Yeah, well, he come in and took service, and he got out in front of Jason.
You know what? That might be why. If he went in and pitted before he got the lucky dog, he didn't get the lucky dog.
Yeah, that would have to be what it is then, because he did take service under that yellow. And look at Jason go now. Fresh tyres, we're down to the low 15s. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into possibly the high 14s with fresh tyres.
Yeah, he could. Thomas Hines, I think Thomas Hines might have made a mistake. His crew might have brought him in a little too early before he got that lucky dog and cost him the race.
Yeah, well, it's with 3:25 under their belt and the pace of this race now, I don't think they're going to get too many opportunities to get back on that lead lap.
No, not with 7 cars on the racetrack, but doesn't look like Thomas Hines is losing sight of Jason. He seems to be keeping right up there with him. Looks like he's trying to run the same line as Jason. That might work for him. As these guys hunt for the perfect line on the track, but we'll see as we watch this unfold with Thomas and Jason.
Yeah, well, Thomas is actually the fastest on track at the moment. He did a 14.975. Jason Martin a 15.008.
Yeah, Daniel G is trying to get around his track, and he is using every bit of it and losing part of the safer barrier as he clips the safer barrier coming out of 2 and 3 right now. He needs to get down lower.
And Edward Foster here back in 4th position. He's now down 2 laps behind Danny G. So he's still going around, but he pitted under green, as did Danny G earlier. So that's a bit of a mystery as well.
Yeah, and Luke Emerton, he is still fighting, 11 laps down, top 5, as he goes around number 9 of Joshua Carroll Walden.
Yeah, so what time's it over there at the moment, Gary?
11:58 midnight.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad.
No, not too bad.
Oh, I heard a bang.
I got to sleep in this morning, so I didn't have to wake up till 5.
Okay, that's all right then. Yeah, Luke Hamilton just got into the wall there. He's still going. You got to sleep in. I'll tell you what, I was still asleep about an hour and a half before we had to go on air.
Let's see, it was 3 p.m. your time?
Yeah. We went on air at 2:10 p.m. today. It's
2:10
now
p.m. Well, at 2:10 my time, I was still driving. So we got the 90 car of Luke Emerton. Looked like he's losing control of the car and down on the apron.
Yeah, he went into the wall a couple of laps back. I heard the bang, and he's pushing on in 5th. But yeah, folks, we've been on air now for coming up to 3 hours, so it's a big one. But hopefully it's been a fun one.
Jason and Thomas put Norman another lap down as they're trying to just... Looks like Thomas is really trying to get his lap back the honest way and not the lucky dog way, so he's doing everything he can do to keep up with Jason. Hopefully Jason messes up for him and Thomas can get his lap back the original way. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how he goes, because generally when people try to hunt down Jason Martin, what happens is he somehow knows how to do these laps and be kind on his tyres, where the other blokes generally burn their tyres up trying to keep up with him.
Yeah, I know how that works. Brad and I, we were on a Daytona race, and we ended up a lap down, and we got hooked up right after a caution flag. We managed to pass the leaders 3 laps into the green flag and get our lap back the honest way, and little mishap kind of changed that, but I know how Thomas is feeling right now. He has the opportunity to get a lap back the honest way and not the lucky dog way, and man, when you can do that, that's a new kind of feeling right there.
Yeah, definitely. It just boosts your confidence, doesn't it, if you can do it that way, because then you know you've got a car that you can race with.
Yeah, especially as teams as Jason puts Luke and Joshua another lap down.
Speaking of a car to race with, the 52's motor just went bang. He's done.
Thomas Hens rolling in the pits. So much for that.
Yep. I'm going to blame you. You were talking him up there.
Well, let's talk about Danny G then. Let's tick him off here. As he claims the 2nd spot, 1 lap down. He's not that far behind Jason, so he's not looking at going another lap down here anytime soon. But he is coming up to Edward Foster, who is 3 laps down in the 4th spot. So Danny G looks to be holding his own right now.
Yeah, up to 2nd position at the moment, so he inherits that. Edward Foster, he moves up into 3rd position, and Thomas is still in 4th, but he'll drop it in the next 10 laps. Going, bit of news on Daniel Stevens. I'm just having a look. They were talking about throwing another motor in that car, and doesn't look like that's the case. Yeah, so we've got news from the Micklemore camp, the number 2. Basically, he had to retire because his wheels started playing up, so he had a hardware failure, which is what put the end of his night.
Yeah, as Daniel Stevens is back out there on the track, running laps, getting points, and looking to put a couple laps down on Matthew Ploitt. He might be able to catch Josh McElmore. Let's see, I'm doing the math here. Maybe if he doesn't have any problems, he might be able to pull eight spot points out of this race and really salvage a bad night for him.
Yeah, definitely. For viewers joining us, the 66 Bluets motor. They spent a good, God knows how long, 20 minutes, maybe longer in the pits, swapping that motor out.
Yeah, he's 124 laps down, so yeah, that's a lot of time.
So they get the Try Hard Award for tonight and getting that car back out. And at the moment, though, Jason Martin, the only car on the lead lap. We're at lap 351 out of 500 here, 149 laps to go. And tell you what, we're fast running out of cars.
Yes, we are. As Jason passes the start-finish line, we're looking at Danny G coming out of 3 passing the start-finish line. So it's about a half a track between Jason and Danny. Hopefully these guys don't hold Danny up and he can just keep on going and stay away from Jason.
Yeah, and have a look, folks. We're riding here with Jason. Keep an eye on the RPM. Just there, ticked into the red, but he's going to make a liar out of me. See if he does it again. Yeah, no, he's making a liar out of me. When we did jump on board, he was actually just keeping it below the red. Now he's back up into the red.
Yeah, you're going to have that. Like I said, after a while, these turns look the same, and you start looking around. You start looking. He's probably got his eyes set on that car in front of him. It looks like Danny Stevens that he's got on. He wants to make sure that he's not going to wreck in front of him. So instead of keeping an eye on his tack, he's looking at that guy, making sure he's still good so he can anticipate anything he's got to do to get around that guy.
Yeah. So
but as you see now, the past 5 laps, he's been lifting right at the red. And now as he comes on, who is that he's coming up on 98 car?
That's Jason.
Jason.
Yeah, he's 98. He's going through the 98 car now. Not literally. That's Stephen Williams. He's putting him another lap down. Stephen Williams 128 laps down.
Right, as he's still kind of looking at Danny Stevens up there. He doesn't want to get in any incidents. He knows Danny Stevens is a lot of laps down. He's got Joshua up there. He knows he's got these guys. So he's still hitting that red zone, lifting, and he's still looking at these guys, making sure they don't wreck so he can get around them.
So if you're in Danny G's position, you're running second, you've seen guys try to run with Jason, you've seen guys blow their motors, what would you be thinking, and what do you reckon your pit crew would be telling you about now this far into the race?
Well, right now, Danny G looks like he's got a little bit of damage. He's hanging on to everything he can. Joshua's a little less than a half a track behind him. My pit crew isn't going to be able to tell me anything I don't already know. And if they tell me to go faster, I'm just going to get mad. As Danny Stevens is trying to come up on Norman right now. But, right now it's just a matter of hanging on to the track. Everybody's got good tires on. They've got at least 150 laps worth of tires to go. So, just hit your marks, hit your rhythm. Rely on a spotter as Danny G gets a little sideways there. It's hard to say, but if my crew chief come on and told me something I really didn't need to know, there'd probably be a few explanatives that he would hear.
Especially if he's saying you're about to go down another lap, speed up.
Yeah, he'd be hearing the bad side of me, but, especially at Bristol, it's just one of those deals. If your car's not running right, you're going to be pissed off. If your car's running good, you're going to be pissed off. If you're getting laps, you're going to be pissed off. If you're leading the race, you're pissed off. You can't win at Bristol. The crew chief cannot win at Bristol. The only one that can basically win at Bristol is the spotter, and that's because he's sitting way up on top, watching the whole thing, enjoying the race.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see Danny G out there running at the moment. 1 lap down, second position, and Jason Martin now hunting him down. that gap I'm having a look at the moment. Well, he's a lap down, but I reckon Danny G would probably have about, what's he? He's lapping 15.621, so he's actually lapping faster than the race leader at the moment.
Jason's just now going across the start-finish line, and Danny G's just coming out of turn 2. So Jason is catching him. Not much behind Daniel will be Jason coming up on behind him. So Daniel needs to get with it, or he's going to lose another lap.
Yeah, well, he's lost 2 tenths a lap before this one, another tenth this lap, and he was fastest on track. As I go through once again, I think it's the case that at the moment Jason can see his prey, and somehow when you can see that, your car normally gets an extra tenth out of it, doesn't it?
It's amazing how you can concentrate and use the car in front of you to either find the mistake or find the bonus. And I've done it a number of times to be able to, guy passes me, get my bearings back up, I get locked on him, and I can actually catch him. Brad and I have done that many times where Brad's gone by me and he's lapped, ha 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 ha, and it's like, all right, sucker, and I just put a beeline on his bumper and I catch him. He's like, what? So that's probably what Jason's doing right now. And if Daniel's looking in his mirror and he's seeing Jason coming, he's probably looking at these two right now, Edward Foster and Joshua, saying, get out of my daggum way.
Yeah, that's it. And you can see Danny G now threading the needle. Just went past Joshua Carroll-Walden. Now he's coming up on Edward Foster again. These two were battling it pretty hard earlier on, but Edward's now 2 laps below Danny G. So we'll see if he makes it easy for him and he goes through. But we've got Thomas Hinds in the green room. We're going to bring him up and have a chat as we see the 24 go past Edward Foster in the 53. But then again, Edward's going to hang out there, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, but Joshua's not too far behind Jason's not too far behind these guys, I'm sorry. So as long as these two guys stay side by side, that gives Jason, who has the entire track, more opportunity to catch these guys as he's coming up on to the back end of the 53 of Edward Foster. So, let's, as we see these play down, let's get a hold of Thomas.
Yeah, and Danny G got it a little bit loose down low there about a lap ago, passing Edward. Jason goes past Edward like he's just almost standing still. But here comes Jason Martin again to put Danny G down another lap. So that's a 2-lap lead. But let's bring Thomas Hinds in. No, we won't. He's left the green room and basically he moves on. But Roger Clark said in the chat, Jason Martin is to oval racing what Bruce and Denny were to Can-Am.
Well, he's definitely be able to capitalize tonight. Josh looked like he was going to be the winner tonight. Jason didn't have a whole lot of positive thinking going into this race. He wasn't sure whether he'd use a fast setup or a long-running setup, and right now at this point, it looked like he put the long-running setup in because as he's climbing up on the back of Daniel G to put Daniel G a 2-lap down, that's going to just kind of basically secure his win for this race at 380 laps.
Yeah, pretty much, and you can just see him working on the back. Danny G is not going to roll over. He does not want to go down another lap because at the moment, if a yellow comes out, he's back in this. But Jason's just working the back of him, getting closer, and Danny's doing everything he can. I know the pit crew and the pit manager and probably saying dig deep, and he's probably expletive as Jason starts getting that run. Danny G slaps the wall and he's trying. Here we go, yellow, it's come out. Man, I should buy a lotto ticket. How many times have I been right tonight?
The 90 car sitting sideways on the track of Luke Emerton. Let's see what happened to him as he sits sideways bringing out the caution.
Yeah, I was going to say
looks like turn 3. Him and Joshua Walden or kind of gotten together a little bit. Turn 1, and let's see. Yep, him and Josh Carroll Walden got together coming out of turn 1. Put 90 Luke Emerton sideways on the track in turn 3.
Yeah, both these guys have had a pretty rough run. Yeah, there he goes. Just in the back straight there, entering into turn 3. He's put her into the wall, got turned by Josh there, and Luke's pretty much just locked her up and let the field go through, which often is the best thing you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to let these guys go through. They don't have to second guess where you're going. And it looks like Danny G looks like he's going to get back on the lead lap as he goes around a pace car and catches up to Jason Martin pit, get a fresh set of tires. Man, he might give Jason Martin a run for his money right now.
He could do. He's back on the lead lap. Now the thing is, what's he do? He's going to come in and put a set of boots on. That's a good move, as you just said, Gary. That way he's got something he can race with, and he could give him a run.
He's in second spot right now. He has nothing to really worry about with Edward Foster and 3 laps down. He has no worries about being passed, so he has second locked in right now. If he doesn't make any mistakes, he has second place. Second place points right now would do him good, and all he's got to do is concentrate, run smooth, hit his marks, keep that bumper in sight of Jason Martin and hope that Jason Martin messes up, get the win, and boom. He's looking good for the night.
Yeah, there he goes. He's coming out now. While the folks do their pit stops, folks, I'm going to go and do one myself. Don't time me, and I'll be back very shortly. And Gary, you might want to do the same if you feel like you need a break.
Yeah, well, as we go around the track here, we're looking like single file. We've got Jason Martin, first place, sitting up there, just kind of basically dominating the race. Danny G just got his lap back, sitting in second. We got Edward Foster sitting 4 laps down in third, with Luke Emerton 14 laps down in fourth. Norman Clark 19 laps down in fifth. Joshua Carroll Walden 21 laps down in sixth. Thomas Hines out with a blown motor, 47 laps down in seventh. Josh McElmore, wheel problems, eighth. Daniel Stevens looks like he's back out on track. He had a motor replacement, 125 laps down in ninth. Stephen Williams rounding out the top 10. He is out on the track, 128 laps down, out there still going at it. These guys are not giving up. It's Jason Martin and Danny G. Oh, where'd Danny G go? We got Edward Martin up there next to... What the hell? Where'd Danny G go?
He's up the back.
He's back there in the back. Oh, yeah, that's right. Lucky dog. So he's got a little bit of work to get through the lap cars as the pace car has lights out. We are about to go racing again. Lap 391 will be green flag as we go right now. Jason Martin to the green, and off he goes.
We're going to jump on board here with Danny G, folks, for a bit in cockpit. Just look how busy he's going to be now getting through. He's already got through one car, up on the 11 now, working the inside line there. He's got the 98 ahead of him, takes the outside line, starts getting that position back. Up further, he's got Josh Carroll Walden, and that is the 66, Daniel Stevens, on the low line.
Yeah, as he comes up to Joshua Carroll Walden, I think he's going to be able to pass him straight away. He doesn't have any damage. All the other cars have a little bit of damage, and damage does affect you a little bit, but it doesn't hold you back. As he's holding the outside line, looks like he's trying to come on the outside of Joshua. It's going to take him a little bit because that inside line is a quicker line. I think he'll get him.
I tell you what, he's rubbing the wall a bit on that high line, trying to get through. As he's now got through Joshua Carroll Walden, taps the wall again. If you Danny G's digging deep here, trying to hunt down Jason Martin. 105 laps to go, folks, and it's between these two. As you can see, just ahead of him is Edward Foster, but Edward's down 4 laps.
Well, like I said, he needs to keep that back bumper of Jason Martin in sight in his windshield. and don't let that thing go, because as soon as you let that thing go out of your windshield, you're going to see him in your mirror. And you don't want to see him in your mirror. You just got the lucky dog. You want to be able to capitalize if Jason does make a mistake and take the lead.
Yeah, and Jason took 2/10 out of him that time. And let's have a look at the gap. At the moment, we'll jump up to Jason Martin, have a look at this live gap. 2 seconds up the road at the moment is Jason Martin.
Yeah, as Jason Martin comes out of turn 3, crosses the start-finish line, you've got Danny G just crossed the start-finish line. 2 seconds is not a whole lot at Bristol, but in the sense it is a lot. 2 seconds is almost an eternity here when you're only turning 15-second laps.
Yeah, well, that's it. We can see from the spotter cam here as Jason Martin comes out of turn 3, turn 2 there, and there is Danny G.
Yeah, but you got back in the back, you got Norman Clark and Joshua Carroll Walden running side by each. Nobody is really racing for position right now, as the only ones on the lead lap are Jason and Daniel, but they're 2.3 seconds apart. Edward Foster 4 laps down, Luke Emerton 14 laps down, Norman Clark 19, Joshua Carroll 21, and looks like Thomas Hines is still sitting in the pits. Daniel Stevens looked like he was back on the track, as he's right there around Danny G, and Stephen Williams is still out there pulling laps, 128 laps down, top 10.
Yeah, and we know Thomas will be in there for a while. He blew his motor. They're replacing it, and we know when Daniel Stevens did that, he was gone for a good 25 minutes. So we'll see how long it takes them to change the motor. But at the moment, these are the only 2 cars on the same lap. Everyone else is on different laps. We'll take you through the top 10 as they stand, folks. So at the moment, as you can see, Jason Martin is leading Danny G by 3.3 seconds. Edward Foster, he's down 4 laps. Luke Emerton, he's in 4th, down 14 laps. Norman Clark in 5th, down 19 laps. Joshua Carroll Walden in 6th, he's down 21 laps. Thomas Hinds is down 22 laps in 7th. 8th is Josh Micklemore, down 118 laps, with Danny Stevens is closing in on him. Daniel Stevens at the moment 125 laps down, and in 10th is Stephen Williams, he's down 128 laps.
Right, Daniel Stevens was 11th while he was repairing the engine, and the patience of that guy to sit there and let that engine get repaired, to come out smelling like a rose pretty much in top 10. He's in 9th position right now, still running around in circles, which means he has the opportunity 4 more laps to take down Josh McElmore, put him up another point, and then he's got a ways to go, another 60 laps before he can put Thomas Hines down. So we still have the time. 285 laps on the books, got 500 total. So, Danny Stevens could come out this as a winner. Hard charger, most patience won. I mean, this guy just sat there, let the engine get, it's crazy how he could possibly finish in the top 5 after blowing an engine and having an engine replacement.
Yeah, exactly right. But it goes to show, if you can circulate out there, you get those all-important points, that's for sure. And as we see now, Jason Martin is coming up on the 90 and the 9 at the moment to put them down another lap. They're going side by side. What's he going to do here? He's lifting. He doesn't want to take any chances here as he tries to work out. They're going to go high, he's going to go low.
Yeah, hopefully these two realize what's going on behind them. I'm not sure they're going to pay too much attention to the 53 car, but they let the 21 car go, and he's going to get through that with no incidences. Let's see what Edward Foster, if he's going to be able to keep up with Jason. Even though Jason is 4 laps down, he will be the next recipient of the lucky dog, providing the caution comes out, which will put him 3 laps down. So I know he's trying to stay right up there with Jason and not let him pass him again.
I'll tell you what, as a racing driver, nothing would piss me off more than if I'm 4 laps down and I can keep up with the leader or catch him slightly.
Well, at that point, you know something's gone right. You made the right decisions. Your crew chief has made the right adjustments on your car. And sometimes it takes 400 laps to get the thing done. But we're in lap 413. We don't have a whole lot to go. So, we can get it done here.
And for the folks that are joining us, thanks for hanging in there. It's a long broadcast for us here on RRTV. We appreciate your company. If you've got any questions, just put them in our YouTube chat channel and we'll definitely try to address them. As you can probably tell, we're hanging in there. It's been a long run, hasn't it, Gary?
Yeah, as Jason Martin comes around turn 3 and 4, to take lap 420. We've only got 80 laps to go, which isn't a whole lot of time if you're looking at 15 seconds a lap. So if you guys can bear with us and bear with our voices for the time being, it'd be great. But it looks like right now Jason Martin is running away with this, and Danny G, as he falls behind, now he's 5.7 seconds back.
Yeah, and if you haven't had enough racing on RRTV yet, folks, you can come back and join me later on this evening when we've got the racingleagues.com GT3 series coming to you from Laguna Seca. Then after that, probably about 10 p.m. GMT plus 10 time, we'll be bringing you the Sim Racers Asia GT3 series, and then I'm going to go to bed.
You think you've had a night of it, huh?
Yeah, I think after that, that'll do, little donkey.
Yeah, that's a lot of racing for you in one night. 500 laps in circles, and what's the racing league, Scott? How many laps are they going to do and where?
Basically, the GT3 is the first one. That's a 1 hour timed race, time certain, and then the Sim Racers Asia, that's a 45-minute time certain race. So compared to this, it should be over in a heartbeat.
I'm going to recommend some coffee for you. It's called Death Wish. It's the strongest coffee in the world. It's got the most caffeine in the world, and I tell you what, it will keep you awake. I thought about going and making me a cup right now, but we've only got 75 laps left, so I think I can hang. But Death Wish coffee, take a look into it. It's the best.
I don't know if we can even get Death Wish coffee in Australia. I guess I could get it shipped in, possibly.
Yep.
Death Wish coffee. Man, can you imagine how excited we could get if we were both on that?
I tell you what, I thought about it before this race to make me I got a thermos, 25 ounces that I could have made. I thought about it, but I'm like, you know what? I do need to go to bed after this race is over. So I'm just going to sit back on some beer and some soda, and that way when this race is over, I can go ahead and hit the rack. But that Death Wish coffee, I tell you what, it's the strongest coffee in the world, and but it's not that bitter. I don't even add sugar to it, and it's great. It pumps me up a little bit, gets me going. And you might want to look into it and see if they can ship it to you out there in Australia.
I'm typing it in.
If not, I'll buy it and I'll ship it to you.
No worries. I'm just having a look. While we're speaking, I'm looking up Death Wish coffee. Let's see if they'll ship. Out of New York. Yep, I've got their website here, deathwishcoffee.com.
It's pretty good stuff. I'm impressed. My sister turned me on to it. I stopped drinking coffee about 3 years ago. Shortly after I quit smoking, and she constantly, she was always saying something about it, and I finally went ahead and tried it, and I was like, wow, it doesn't affect my body like regular coffee does. It just kind of wakes me up a lot. Actually, it's like an energy drink, but only coffee without all that sugar, because I don't put any sugar in it. So to me, it's a bonus, because I'm not drinking energy drinks anymore. I'm not drinking as much Mountain Dew anymore. Sorry, Mountain Dew, but hey, you know what? Something beats you out.
Look, there you go, folks. They do serve Death Wish coffee to Australia.
That's pretty awesome. You ought to try it. Like I said, it's not a bitter coffee. I actually drink it with some hot chocolate and some Irish cream. It's delish, to say the least. But as we got here, we got a little group coming up here. Danny G looks like he's coming up behind the 53 car. Edward Foster, let me put him another lap down. Danny G is only 8 seconds behind Jason Martin.
I'm just checking to see if we're still live there, folks. Can you, if you're watching, can you give us a thumbs up or something in the chat channel? The reason I ask is it looks like my restream for... no, that's working. The YouTube saying we're offline, but if you're there, give us a thumbs up.
Well, that's no good, YouTube. What are you doing?
Exactly. I tell you what, if we're not live on YouTube, I'm going to bed. Again.
You know, I'm gonna keep my comments to myself about YouTube. They've got a good thing going for people, but not for me and not for people. A lot of people in the U.S. right now. So right now we've got Jason Martin. He's just continuing on his rant. He's putting laps down. He's got Daniel G now 9.6 seconds, which is just about a little over half second or half a lap down. So he's got 60 laps to possibly put Danny G a lap down and finish this race an entire lap ahead of everybody.
Yeah, fantastic. Rogers just told us, yeah, mate, I'm still here. So that's good.
I'm surprised Roger's still awake. He lost it 350 laps ago, and I can imagine, you know, with what's going on with him, his new baby girl coming on, and I can't see how he could be. If I was him, I'd be sleeping right now because that little baby girl's going to come up and it's going to wear him out. And, so it's good to see Roger still watching us.
Yeah, that's it. And he's one of the guys behind this and behind the ANZCAR. So
Roger is ANZCAR. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
He is ANZCAR. Him and his dad, you know, they work close together. The MFR team, they work really close together. But Roger, this is his passion. And yeah, I think Roger is ANZCAR. It's been a long time coming. And I think he's pretty happy about what's going on. Third race this season for the full length races for the Cup division. I think he's pretty happy, even though his finishes have been less than stellar in this series. I still think he's pretty happy about what's going on.
Oh yeah, they've come a heck of a long way, haven't they, this year? It's not a very old league from what I can tell, but already they've got four successful series running through the week, and that says a lot.
Yeah, when I met Roger, he was racing with RacingLeagues.com, and the whole reason I lashed on to RacingLeagues.com in Australia is because their racing time kind of matched my racing time availability. So Roger and I, we both play bass. We kind of latched on to each other as you know, acquaintances, and got a little closer. And I've watched ANZCAR come up from, I don't want to, it's kind of gross to say, but I've watched ANZCAR grow from its fetal position per se. And Roger, you know, him and his dad have nothing to be ashamed about with ANZCAR. It's definitely a league to be to contend with in iRacing. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, the guys that race at ANZCAR, top notch. Everybody here, they race clean, they race hard, they make mistakes. We're all human, but for the most part, Roger and his dad are sitting back smiling, and they got to be happy with what they've got right now.
Yeah, definitely. And a few other guys behind that. You've got Edward Foster. He's also part of the admin team, and I think Danny Stevens or Danny G might be behind it as well. And there's another person, which no doubt Roger's in the chat channel. He can tell us who to give a shout out to. 49 laps to go here, folks, and it's ticking down pretty quick. 5:32 p.m. here in Australia, and probably around about 1:30 a.m. over in your neck of the woods. Oh, we lost Danny G into the wall.
As that brings out the caution, and Edward Foster just gets by him without collecting.
Yep, that was a weird one. Let's go back and have a look. Maybe he's fallen asleep. Have a look at it. He's let me know what you think on this one, Gary, because it was a bit strange. He's crashed towards the end of the straight.
I'm looking at him here in lap 450 as he's running high. Looks like he's doing okay right there. Comes across out of turn 3, is slowing down a little bit. I think he's getting tight at this point. Crosses the start-finish line into 1 and 2 here. He's still running high at lap 451. He's definitely tight in 3 and 4. I can see that he's got a lot of wheel going in 3 and 4, coming across the start-finish line. Looks like he's doing okay. Might be a little loose in 1 and 2.
How far back did you go?
As he's around lap 4, like I said, he's really tight 3 and 4 as he comes through, and he just gets snapped loose across the start-finish line and goes into the inside wall. And that's happened to just about everybody tonight coming out of 4. That ass into that car just comes around, and they see that inside wall. That wall was put there strictly for that reason, though. In real life, that wall coming out on the start-finish line, that wall was put there because of that looseness coming out of 4. It just turns you straight into pit road. So that wall was put there for a reason, and Danny G just happened to hit it. Yeah,
we just went real time in the cockpit, folks, just so you could see how much time they have to react, and there wasn't much coming back from that. He's in the pits now taking service. Roger said basically the guys behind ANZCAR that help him out there, the other admins, you've got Edward Foster, Danny G and Steve Hoppett, the man of ANZCAR, the voice of ANZCAR, as I say. It's
Steve Hoppett. I wish he was here right now. He to kind of help me with taking Brad's place. I think we'd have just as much of a ball as we would if Brad was here.
Man, what are you saying about me? I thought we were getting on I thought we were getting on real fine.
I'm hoping we're doing okay. You're here. I'm here. The third part, Brad. He had to take care of his son. I hope his son's okay. This kind of I've known Brad for a very long time and been around since his kid's been born, and his kid's gone through. We had that poor kid. He just can't win. He starts feeling good, then all of a sudden, bam, he's sick again, and the doctors are just giving him a run around here and run around there, and they can't figure out what's wrong with it. But here they go. They're lining up side by side. Pace car lights are out. Looks like they're going to go back to green. Like I said, Steve Hoppett would probably add a little bit what Brad couldn't do because he's not here, and give us a break for a minute or two.
Yeah, well, if you need a break.
Steve likes to talk.
Oh, he does, mate. He does. He talks. He talks about a lot of stuff.
And here we go racing again with Jason out front.
Yeah, and I tell you what, look at the cars behind Jason. His cars are looking pretty straight, touchwood. The other cars look like there's something out of that game, the Wreckfest.
Right. The damage model isn't 100% correct here in iRacing, but it's enough to give you the idea of what these guys are going through. If you look in the cockpit of Danny G, he's still got a little bit of his hood sticking up, which, actually, if you're trying to hit your lines right, that hood's not helping you at all. Yeah, it would be, it'd sort of be a bit distracting, wouldn't it, as well? Yeah, it is. You really can't get adjusted to what your car's doing, where your lines are at, because it's kind of, the front end is kind of squished up a little bit. So, in essence, I think the damage would be a lot less severe after a pit stop. That hood would be gone, the front end would be gone, the grille would be gone. This would look like Danny G's car would pretty much look like a modified out there running around right now. So it'll look a bit closer to Luke Hamilton's car, except without the bonnet and the front fenders. Pretty much, yes. Now that would be cool. They should have that. I reckon that would be fun. I know once upon a time that was the case, but I think NASCAR now has rules where you got to have the whole car out there, and you got 5 minutes to do it. There's no more of this open wheel crap. From last I think, somebody out there that knows a little bit more can probably correct me, but yeah, I think these guys got to be running the whole dang car now. So, but you look at the 90 car, the 9 car, they're missing their front ends. They're missing the front fascia of the car.
And for the folks that are wondering how Jason Martin does it, we're going to ride around with him for a few laps, folks. Telemetry on, to see the master at work here as he comes down to 34 laps to go.
As he comes out of turn 2 on the back stretch, coming into turn 3, 9,100 RPMs, he's hanging the high line, just barely taps the wall. Doesn't have a whole lot to work with. I think he's trying to push it. I don't know why. But there he's running the outside line. Still running his times, hitting his marks, 9,000 RPMs going into turn 3. I'm sorry, turn 2. See, again, you lose track of where you're at on this track. There's no numbers on the wall. The turns look identically. The only way you know is that checkered flag when you pass the start-finish line. It's crazy.
Can see him now as we ride. He's going past Danny G there in the 24, and as if he's standing still. So I'd say Danny's now just holding on to that 24, looking at the points and counting down the laps.
Yeah, Jason looks pretty smooth. Every lap looks the same. He's not fighting it. He's not having to correct it. He knows he's got this in the bag. He had to lift a little bit there. Probably got a little bit loose. He's got traffic coming up with Norman Clark as he passes him on the inside. Danny Stevens coming up on him. These guys giving him plenty of room as he goes down low to pass him. Puts his mark on the next car. 98 car, just he's smooth. He's hitting his marks. He's hitting his timing. This is his race to lose.
Certainly is, and he's now coming past the 98, takes him on the high side, and the boys now, I think they've had enough. So yeah, a bit of news from the MFR team. Danny G's basically running very high engine temps after that crash, so he's just trying to nurse that thing home.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of damage on the front. And like I said, you know, the damage model is okay. The damage physics on these cars for iRacing seem to be pretty close to on point. The more you bang these cars up, the harder they're going to run, the hotter they're going to run, the less they're going to handle. So, yeah, I mean, right now we're looking at the 52 car just walking right around him. You know, he's got fresh tires, got a fresh engine in that thing, but kind of looked like Danny G was on 3.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, I guess he's trying to come home in second, but the pace he's going, he's struggling in this 24.
He is, and he could still get second with 25 laps to go. The only one he's really got to worry about is Edward Foster. Edward Foster is still a lap and then some behind him, so he's just got to not mess up. You know, don't slip up, don't lose the car, don't hit the wall again, and he'll bring it home in second and get those second place points, which I know is what he's working for.
Yeah, well, we're riding with him. Just listen to it. He's rolled right out of it, as we could tell. He's basically hitting 7,200 revs, and I'd like to see what the engine temp is on that car, because I reckon it would be redlining about now from what the team's telling us.
Well, I'm pretty sure with the amount of front end damage he's got on that car, he's not getting up to speed. It's holding him back. He does have engine damage, so it's not running at 100%. So he's probably still full throttle, but that's all he's getting out of it. So he might be able to hang on to it, depending on what's going on with Edward. But again, Edward is still a lap and then some behind him. So 25 laps, he could still hang on to this and get a second place.
Yeah, he's rolling right out of it as Jason Martin goes around again. He's still sitting on around about 180 Ks at 7,200 revs, and he's rolling out of it down the straight there. He's being very kind to that motor, just counting down these laps. 17 laps to go, mate. And I'll tell you what, if it goes now, touch wood, let's hope it doesn't, that would be a bit of a letdown, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Hopefully his engine holds up. Edward's got some cars to get around.
Yeah, he's just got to
before
get.
he can,
Sorry, mate. Go.
well, before he can get to Danny G, he's got to get around. He's got to go around Danny G one time, and then get back up to him to catch that second position. And right now he's got the 9 car of Joshua coming up on, and let's see if we can get around him. Yeah, he's doing that. He's coming up on Danny G. He's looking at the back end of him if he can get around the 90 car, but he's got to get all the way around him again before he can get that position. Yeah,
and he's going slower now. He's rolling it down to 6,000. So that motor would just be getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And as you can see now, Edward Foster coming around. Looking at Luke Emerton, he's just passed him. Luke's 15 laps down. So even if worst comes to worst and Danny G's motor goes, well, there you go. He's down to third now as Edward Foster takes him. And I thought Edward had another lap to go, but he doesn't. He's taken him for second. So even if Danny G parks it, he'll still walk away with third position here.
Yeah, because Jason Martin put him a lap down. So yeah, I thought for sure Edward had another lap to go too, but he's looking at least a third. So that's still a good point stay for Daniel G, considering the run he's had, the few instances he's had, and the things that he's had to miss. And look at Edward Foster. I mean, good for him coming up in second. Ran really hard tonight, ran really long, got back in the middle of the pack, missed a couple accidents, had a couple himself, and here he is coming in second place. So, it's all good.
Yeah, that's it.
Norman Clark back there in the back of the field at the beginning of the race, struggling for, racing for last place. Here he is hanging on. He's got the attrition, 22 laps down, coming in for a top 5 with Joshua Carroll. Nowhere near able to catch him. 3 laps behind him, so it looks like Norman's going to come in with a top 5 for MFR.
And I'll tell you what, that 24, we've got him back on screen again, folks. He's dropped another 20k an hour. He's barely getting it above 168 at the moment. As you can see now, Jason Martin going around once more to put him down another lap. And it's I think it's all she wrote for that one. But the team can hold their head up high. They've got him onto the podium. And some valuable points here at Bristol Food City 500.
Yeah, there's 4 laps to go as Jason Martin just continues to be smooth, and everybody seems to be getting out of his way and not holding him up. So it looks like Daniel G is going to come home with a third, and Edward Foster in second, and hopefully Daniel G can be able to get that thing around, not get a DNF. That'd be great. At this point, the real NASCAR would actually call him in because he's not holding anywhere near pace, and his race would be over. Fortunately, iRacing doesn't do that.
No. So, what is the rule in real NASCAR like? Is it 110% or whatever it is? Do they use that rule?
I don't know the actual percentage of what you need to run, but it's around 5 seconds a lap. I used to know it. I don't know it now. But there is a percentage of what the car needs to run before NASCAR says get it off the track. You're a danger. And I don't know what. Maybe it's Jason going sideways. What are you doing, boy?
He's just won.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking down at 501.
There you go.
Okay, let's drift Bristol.
Yeah, this is a tradition in Down Under. Take a NASCAR and drift it.
Okay, yeah, because you're not allowed to spin them at the start-finish line. He's about to do. Anyway, there is a percentage. I'm not sure what it is. Somebody out there will know and can correct us or put it out there. But there is a percentage on what these guys got to run before NASCAR tells them to park it.
Yeah, well, he was only down 1 second a lap at the end of it, which doesn't sound like much, but it's huge. As we can see, Jason Martin given them all a lesson tonight in how it's done at Bristol and taking that win. He led 363 laps of this race out of 500 tonight, so absolutely dominant performance. But while we wait for the top three to come up to have a chat here, we will go through the full results and then we'll go to our race winner. So looking at the results here at Bristol, Jason Martin takes the win, followed by Edward Foster in second. Danny G, he holds on to get home in third position. Luke Emerton finishes in fourth. Fifth tonight was Norman Clark in 11th. Well done to Norman. Joshua Carroll Walden home in sixth. Seventh, Thomas Hins. Thomas had to throw a new motor at that to get it home, as did Daniel Stevens in the 66, who finished just behind him. Looking at ninth is Stephen Williams in the 98. 10th, Josh Micklemore in the number 2. Matthew Clowett comes home in 11th. Mirko Dortnack classified 12th. 13th, Chris Purnell. Ryan Shelton in the number 4. Only man to land on his lid tonight. 15, Darren McKenzie in the 75. 16th was Sam Deventia in the 95. Roger Clark was the last to finish in 17th. And Lee Granty, he did not take to the track tonight.
Got to hand it out to all these guys that gave it a shot. Unfortunately for Roger Clark, 410 laps down, didn't get but 90 laps in the race before his demise. But Jason Martin, Edward, Daniel, Luke, Norman, and Joshua, you guys held it out. Awesome job. Thomas Hines sticking it out. Daniel Stevens, you guys engine swap, 15 minutes in pits to come back out to run some laps. Awesome patience, good time. Thank you guys for putting on a show for us. I do appreciate it.
It sounds like you need to go and hit the bed by the sounds of it, Gary. Yeah, let's get through these interviews quick because I've got about an hour before I've got to go back on air. So let's have a chat with I know, right? It's one of those nights here, Saturday night, and just living the life. Anyway, let's go to live with Jason Martin, our race winner. Hey there, Jason. Welcome to RRTV. I'll tell you what, we spoke to you before the race tonight, and you're wondering if you go for a consistent setup or a fast setup. Not sure what you ran, but all the same, 363 laps you led, and you put them all down 3 laps, so, at least 3 laps. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I really had no idea which way to go. I ended up picking the safe one that was nice and consistent because it was a bit better in traffic.
Yeah, well, I think that was the way to go. But I'm going to hand you over to Gary before he dozes off. He's a tired man tonight.
Well, I just had to get me another drink. My throat was getting dry.
Okay.
That was a lot of talking. We had a lot of laps to talk about, a lot of racing to talk about. You guys put on a hell of a show. Jason, what were you thinking out there, man? Did you lose track of where you're at? You were just running down laps, and I mean, did one car look like the other? Because at one point you really had no competition.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first half of the race when everyone was pretty close, but yeah, I started to struggle for concentration towards the end there, but I was able to keep it clean and bring it to the end.
I'll tell you what, it's a hell of a job. Like Bernie said, you put everybody 3 laps down at least with Ed Foster. Danny G looked like he had something for you for a little bit. Got the lucky dog back, but had problems getting back up through the field to catch you. Not that he would have had anything for you, but he was the next closest thing to you until he messed up. But yeah, man, good job. You chose the right. Obviously, you chose the right chassis to put on tonight. And yeah, man, I hope this momentum carries on to next track, and you can repeat this and get something at a little bit bigger track.
Thanks, mate. Always good to get a win and survive at Bristol.
Oh, Bristol's a nightmare. When you get Bristol behind you, it's a win.
Yep, you never know how you're going to go at Bristol.
No, but you did a good job, dude. And again, thank you for the show. Really good watching you race. It's just it was good.
Thanks, mate.
So before we let you go, Jason, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors and team and anyone else that helped you with the car tonight?
No sponsors, so I just got to thank Mike Korolev for the paint job and RRTV for the broadcast.
Somebody's got to sponsor this guy, man. He's hot. He's good. He races, the Xfinity Series. Somebody's got to get out there in YouTube land, man. If you want to watch this guy, run through this series, put your name on his car, man, because he's worth it.
And to give any businesses an idea how much of a return of investment you get, just today in this race, he had over 50 minutes airtime. So can you imagine getting that for your sign on the side of a car?
Good job, Jason. Good job.
Yeah, good job, mate. We'll see you hopefully Thursday night for the Xfinity Series.
Yep, no worries, mate.
All right, see ya. So the next interview is with Edward Foster, coming home second. I might let you start this if you've got the energy, Gary.
Sure.
All right, thanks.
Edward Foster, how you doing, buddy?
Completely exhausted, but pretty pleased. How are you guys?
I can imagine. What were your thoughts when Danny G got a little sideways right there in front of you, and you were able to get back around him, take on that second spot?
My first thought was when he actually had the spin, what had happened, because we were all sort of rolling around. There was a lap in between. Laps in between most of the guys. So we were just sort of rolling around. The next thing I can see, he's bounced off the wall and, was down on the bottom. So he sort of warned me on the restart that he was going to be in third and he was going to be nursing it. And as soon as I heard he was going to be nursing it, I was like, right, qualifying laps from here. And just went after it, but I just, because I didn't know how slow he was going to have to be. So yeah, just gunned it, left absolutely nothing out there and just hoped the tyres would hang on and I'll be able to get around him. And as luck would have it, I did. So,
well, you gave us a good show tonight. You held on. You gave us some good racing with the other drivers. It was good to watch. You and Thomas Hins, am I saying it right? You guys raced pretty good together. Gave guys a lot of room for each other, side by side for many laps. It was a good race, and congratulations. It's the second place is nothing to write home to mom about, but tonight, 500 miles at Bristol, you did pretty good. And, pat yourself on the back, sitting here almost 4 hours, sitting around here, going around circles, losing track of where you're at. So good job.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, second place to Jason Martin's like a win anyway. It's those long green flag runs that, really just show the margin between him and the rest of us. He's really just very fast. So, and of course, Thomas and I, we love racing one another. We had a chance to do that on Thursday, and we had a chance to do that again tonight. And then, there was a really good period there where it was me and Josh Micklemore and Danny G. We're all having a great race there together over, I think it was around about third or fourth place at that point. So, yeah, there were some great moments, some moments where the race sort of stabilised a little bit, and I think everybody hit trouble. Even Jason spun, which never happens. So, tough day, but yeah, coming away with second, man, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, Josh had a problem with his wheel, and he had to call it for the night. So, yeah, that was kind of a shocker for him because you guys were all running up front, and all of a sudden Josh starts going backwards. It's like whoa. So yeah, he had a problem with his wheel. So hardware problem, but anyway, you want to mention your sponsor? We did a couple times tonight with your ASPC computers, out there making gaming computers for everybody that needs a computer to run the sim, and you care to go on and carry on with that?
Yeah, well, APCS are just awesome. They support ANZCAR, they support Riley Curtis Designs Motorsports as well. Unfortunately, I was the only representative from our team out here today, but their support is always appreciated on both fronts. And glad that I can get them a little bit of airtime and publicity and a nice result and everything like that. So I hope that Shane's watching and he's as pleased as I am.
Yeah, guys, if you're trying to race iRacing on a laptop, just hang it up, man. if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or in that part of the world, give ASPC a look and get you a computer that can run this game. And a lot of guys think, oh, computers, bleh. I'm telling you, frame rates is everything. The better the computer, the better you're going to race. The better you race, the better your times are. The better your times are, the faster you are. The faster you are, the more fun you have. And the more fun you have, the better you are. So you end up like Jason out there winning races, end up, Edward out there running top fives, possible wins. So it's all about the computer, and you guys do a hell of a job of getting these guys computers. So kudos, buddy. We'll let you go.
All right, thanks very much, and thanks to RTV for sticking with us. I know that was a real long one, so yeah, thanks for sticking around to the end, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, no worries, mate. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Gary sounds like he needs to go to sleep, but then again, it's darn early over there. But anyway, Edward, thanks for coming up for a chat. Congratulations on second, and we'll go and see how Danny G fared, Gary.
Absolutely, I'd love to talk to Danny G. He had a hell of a race. He had some ups, he had some downs, and I think he's going to provide us with a little bit of entertainment here. Danny G, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm tired. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning here in not so sunny California right now, but your race tonight, man, it had some ups, it had some downs. You care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, it sure did. What happened? I wasn't too.
I'll tell you what happened. You raced a good race. You had some ups and you had some downs. You had some. You hit the wall. You had some spins. But in the end, you looked like you had a second place finish, and then you spun out and hit the wall at the start finish line. Come out of 4, looked like the car got free on you. And you just went straight for the wall. And after that, your engine was done, and you were just hanging on to everything you hang on to.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened. With about 55 laps to go, I started to get a cramp in my right leg every time I put my foot on the throttle. And it just kept eating at me. So as I went into turn 3, I tried to extend my right leg to alleviate that pinch or whatever it is. And when I put my foot back down, I just put my foot back down on the throttle too hard, and it lit the rear wheels up, and off I went. And I was just thankful I could sort of pit, and it wasn't too badly damaged. But yeah, I just had to snail pace around for the next 40 odd laps.
Bananas, mate. Eat a banana.
Yeah.
The beginning of the race, sitting there in the middle of the field, you were running around 5th or 6th, and looked like you were doing pretty good. You were running right there with Josh and Jason, and then all of a sudden you just kind of went backwards. What happened? Did the car get away from you? I don't know. It just kind of looked like the engine failure.
I wasn't very quick off the get-go, like on fresh rubber. I was actually quite slow, and those guys took off. But I could wheel them back in after 40, 50 laps, and I was actually really happy with the way the car was handling. Once I got around the 2, and I had a good battle with Edward there for felt like 100 laps. But once I got around them, I sort of could take off. So I thought I had, on the long run, at least a third to fourth place car with those sort of cars still on the track. And then as the race ran down, I thought, well, we got the second, and I was just trying to get my laps back and ended up back on the lead lap. But yeah, unfortunately, I made that mistake, and it cost me.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping that, when you were 1 lap down, he wasn't too far ahead of you. We were hoping for that caution so you get your lap back. You got your lap back. We're like, yeah, cool. But you had traffic to work through. Was it hard to work through the traffic, with, I think we were 400 laps about then. You had 100 laps to go. You're in the back of the pack. You just got your lap back. Was it really hard to work through the traffic with the guys ill-handling cars and cars that were bent up, missing parts? And I don't know. We didn't get to look too much through your cockpit, but can you kind of go through what it was like to get kind of up there to try and catch up to Jason?
Yeah, it actually wasn't too bad. Like some guys would sort of race you hard for 2-3 laps, and they'll eventually sort of let you through, which wasn't too bad. But like my car was terrible on the inside line. It was just very, very loose down there. I didn't want to be down there at all, so I just tried to get up to the top. But yeah, thankfully everyone sort of let me through, and let me do what I had to do. But yeah, during the race it wasn't too bad. Yeah, some guys would let you through, some guys would race you a little bit, but in the end, it was all clean from my perspective.
When you started fifth, you had a really good qualifying score of 14,475. Put you fifth on the grid. You finished third. You got to be happy. I know it's not a win, but for points wise, it puts you up there. You were fourth coming into the race tonight. Fourth or third coming into the race tonight. So with a lot of guys not showing up, it should have done you pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thank you.
In the end, it's all about the championship. Wins are good,
It is.
but at the end, when you're holding the championship trophy and nobody else is, that's got to be the satisfying victory.
Yeah, it would be. It's just consistency.
Awesome. Well, do you want to give a shout out to all your sponsors, mate?
Yeah, sure. West End Mazda, WPC Concreting, Auto Kings, RacingLeagues.com, RRTV, of course, for broadcasting, and just a big thank you to MFR Racing and Roger for the setups and helping me learn, teaching me how to sort of build a setup and whatnot. Yeah, thanks to all those guys.
Fantastic, mate. Well, we'll let you go. It's been a long one for all of us, and no doubt we'll see you next Thursday night for the Thursday Night Thunder Xfinity Series.
Oh, who's tired?
Me. No, I'm not tired. I've still got 2 more broadcasts to do yet.
Awesome show, Daniel. I appreciate watching you race. Thanks for ANZCAR for having me do this.
Not a problem. Thank you.
So that was Danny G. Just got that car home and saved that motor. Although I reckon, Gary, they'll probably pull that motor out and I don't know if we'll see it again. But anyway.
Yeah, I think they're going to chuck it in the creek. But, Jason Martin, he's going to hold on to his lead. Daniel Stevens is probably going to drop behind Danny G, as Josh McElmore is going to probably stay in the 4th position. Stephen Williams didn't show up tonight, so he's going to drop a few points. Thomas Hines might pull up into 4th. As we're looking at the points, Matthew Raymond and Riley Curtis didn't show up tonight, so looks like Norman and Roger are going to probably pull up a couple of positions in the point standings for this series.
Yeah, definitely. So I was just tuning out. All I heard was blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, race wins are good, but when you're racing for a championship, it's all about the championship at the end.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's consistency. Wins help, but showing up and like these guys, Daniel Stevens, Thomas Hines, sitting there waiting for their engines to get repaired, get back out there and running laps, that helps.
Yeah, it certainly does. And that's, as you said, that's what it is all about. And we're very early in the series. We're only in round 3. They're running pretty much all year, folks, up until November, I think it is. So, they to win the thing at the end of the year, you pretty much have to go and bag those points earlier on. But anyway, Gary, I think it's time for you to hit the hay and me to go and get some dinner.
All right. Well, enjoy dinner. We will catch you next month.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll probably do the next month. We'll see how we go. But, Gary, thanks so much for staying up late for us down here and calling all the action. Also, a shout out to Brad, who was going to commentate tonight, but his child's a bit ill at the moment. But until next time, folks, on behalf of Gary Huff, I'm Bernie Wiemers. Thanks. Oh, before I let you go, come back at 7:15 p.m. in just over an hour for the RacingLeagues.com GT3. So on behalf of Gary Huff, I'm Bernie Wiemers. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and we will catch you again soon. Good night.
Good night.